but I'm still not 100% certain that I'm rolling because there are things that I could do with my team. So this is the way the team looks. I've got 1 free transfer and I've got 0.3 million in the bank. I've got a few options, and I was trying to work this out with my members yesterday, how to pronounce this man's name. We think, and it was Frosty that said this, you know, like gnocchi, I think it's gnonto, or like online it says like nionto. I think it's gnonto. Is that correct? If anyone's Italian in here and I've just butchered that name, basically the lead striker, Gnonto, gnonto. I think that's it, or gnonto. So I'm looking at him. Looks like a really, really decent option at about 5 million. And outside of that, I could potentially do Mitrovic to Nketiah, but I don't know if this is the week to do so. I feel like Mitrovic's fixture is better than Nketiah. Then what else could I potentially do? I could still potentially just take out Almiron for Matoma. I can't do Almiron to Ødegaard, sadly. Let me just move this over slightly. Oh, that's fun. Just floating around. If I could do Almiron to Ødegaard, I'd be tempted to just bite the bullet and do it. But I don't have the funds to do so. So it would have to be, if I do want to take out Almiron, and I don't think I need to rush him out. I still think he's a fine option. We're going to discuss Almiron in a bit. I think maybe Matoma or March would be the ones that I'd have to go for. Or I could go Mitrovic out for, like I said, Gnonto or Nketiah. I think I prefer Gnonto for the double game week 22. And obviously for this week, I think he's got a better fixture. But I like the fact Nketiah's got double game week 23, and he's also got really, really good data as well. So there are some options here. And I've obviously still got Reece James, but he's now back in training. I might end up just holding on to Reece James for a couple more weeks and just seeing, because all the other defenders I want, I think will blank in game week 25. Again, we'll discuss that in a sec. So it's not easy to try and work out kind of, I think at the moment, and it's not just because my rank's free falling, and it's not free falling, I'm still in a decent position, but you can see there's a lot of red arrows in recent weeks. I'm struggling to get a grasp on FPL at the moment. And again, I don't think that's necessarily just me. I think that's kind of a lot of people, because we've got these players in our teams that are all really highly owned, and you feel like you probably shouldn't take them out, but they're not getting you much. The likes of Trippier, Haaland, Rashford, Martinelli, to some extent Almiron. So you've got these players that are kind of 80% owned. Kane, like my whole team pretty much. Luke Shaw, I could keep going. So we've got these players that you feel like you should maybe keep long term. There are very few differentials, and the players that we probably do want to move towards either don't have good fixtures, they've got a blank coming up, or maybe there are slightly better teams with doubles. And I just find it's tricky to try and, like I said, get a grasp on FPL at the moment. Even if you gave me a wildcard, I feel like I would struggle to build a team I was fully happy with. So yeah, there it is. By the way, we've passed 11 million managers on FPL, which is absolutely mental. Absolutely mental. Nice Italian accent there. I have been known for my fantastic Italian accent. Don't pronounce the G, so it's Nonto. Okay, I thought it was like a soft G. Or anyway, I'll call him Nonto if we prefer. What I won't be calling him is Ganonto, because that would sound terrible. Oh, can someone phonetically spell the new Chelsea signing for me, please, in the chat before I try and pronounce his name? The one starting with an M. Can someone phonetically spell that? Because I forgot to check how to pronounce that name. And I haven't heard it pronounced yet. Ross, what are your thoughts on KDB as a captain? I don't dislike it, but I still think that if you're expecting... And the only way I would like to captain KDB personally is if you're expecting Haaland to get limited minutes, not because KDB was rested. Because for me, if you think KDB is a great captain because he's been rested and you think he'll do really well, if KDB does well, he doesn't carry much goal threat. And we've said this for a while. His XG is around a 0.2. So if KDB is going to do well, it's going to be maybe a goal, but normally a couple of assists. If KDB's playing well and getting assists, you can bet your life that if Haaland's on the pitch, he's going to be the one scoring. So I don't dislike KDB captain, but it needs to be for the reason that you think Haaland won't get that many minutes, rather than due to the fact that you think KDB's like an inherently better captain than Haaland. Because for me, he doesn't get close. The data's not close, and especially the goal threat's not even close either. So yeah. Raptor, do you stream on TikTok? No, I don't stream on TikTok. I do a TikTok video every week, but I don't do any kind of streams on TikTok. Okay, everyone's helping me. Madway K. You're all telling me different things. Everyone's telling me a different pronunciation. Oh, that's not helped me at all. That has not helped me at all. Chat, you suck. Do you know what? Not only do you give me terrible 50-50 polls, and we're going to run some polls in a second, you're all telling me different pronunciations. Some people are saying Mudrick. Some people are saying Maddek Beck. Some people are saying Maduwake. What is this? Do you know what? I'm not listening. Now I'm not gonna pronounce his name ever. And you've ruined it for yourselves. We've got Yash has just become a member. If that's the Yash, then welcome back, my man. Thank you for being a member. I think it is. Captain Trippier. Good question. What do we think, chat? Would you captain Trippier? Is Trippier a genuine captaincy shout? Let's have a quick look. Would you genuinely consider captaining Trippier? Not in a double game week, just in a regular week like this. Is Trippier a captaincy shout? And someone yesterday brought it to my attention. Look at this man's scores since game week 14. 11, 12, 7, 12, 8, 8, 9. So apart from one 7-pointer, which is still great against Chelsea, this man hasn't dropped below an 8-pointer and he's got 3 double-digit hauls since game week 14. He's only blanked 3 times this season. Is he actually a captaincy shout? Now, my major issue with captaining Kieran Trippier is I just feel like it's still quite a low ceiling. And I know that's a crazy thing to say because a 9-pointer for a goal, sorry, a 9-pointer for a striker is a goal and 3 bonus points and obviously not getting booked and getting 2 appearance points. So a 9-pointer for a striker is still pretty impressive. I just feel like, yes, he's got 3 double-digit hauls, but the highest he scored this season is a 12-pointer. The highest you would probably ever expect him to get is probably 15 points. Whereas I feel like Haaland, and we've seen it in the past anyway against Manchester United, and we've seen him get a couple of 17-pointers as well. He has that big haul in him, and so does the likes of Salah, even KDB to some extent, and I just don't know that that's there. So I feel like with Trippier, assuming you expect him to get a clean sheet in that week, his floor is quite high, because he's going to get you, if he gets a clean sheet, it's almost definitely 7, 8, or 9 points. But I don't know that it'll be that much more than that. So if you're happy with 14 to 18 points from your captain most weeks, at the moment anyway, assuming he keeps this up, captaining Kieran Trippier could be a really nice option. But I'm less convinced than potentially some other people. I don't dislike it though. Sayak has become a member. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Welcome to being a Rap Tier 1 member. I hope you enjoy being with us. What to do with Martial? That's a tricky one. If you can get away with not playing Martial this week, then fantastic, because obviously double game week 22 looks fairly likely, which we'll discuss. I do really like Nyonto, though, and I really like maybe like an Nketiah as well. The issue is, if you can get away with not making the move this week, maybe don't. Keep Martial and then assess ahead of 22 if he's fit and fire him. Because if, for example, he makes a miraculous recovery and he's ready to start in 22, we've got 2 home fixtures if we get the double. It looks really nice on paper. I would probably want to keep Martial. So it's up to you. I don't mind selling him, though. If I had him, I would be very, very tempted to sell just because I don't really like my bench options that much this week. Yeah, Frosty just said, I sold Martial last night for Nketiah. I didn't want to soak up another price change. That didn't happen. Yeah, so he looks quite close to a price. Nketiah looks like he could be going up soon. Martial looks like he could be going down. So you could end up losing like 0.2 on that sort of transfer, potentially. Start Shaw or Martial? I'd probably start Martial and just hope, but I don't think you're going to get much from Shaw or Martial in this game, to be honest. Nicholas says, start Almiron or Bailey as a differential. Start Almiron or Bailey as a differential. Who do Villa have? Sorry, sometimes I forget to look at the fixtures before I rock up. Villa have Southampton. Bailey's looked quite good recently. Looks fairly nailed. It kind of depends what you need from your team at the moment, I guess, and what you're aiming to achieve. Almiron's the very, very defensive play, because if Almiron gets anything and you've not got him in your team, he's still like 70% owned. I think they're virtually 50-50, and I don't normally like taking ownership into account, but if you want to shoot up the rankings and maybe everyone else in your mini league has Almiron and you're maybe a little bit lower down, then by all means go Bailey. But if you've got a really nice rank and you're at the top of your mini leagues and you want to just protect, go for Almiron because I don't think there's much between them this week. I'd be tempted to start Bailey, to be honest. Are you going to do Premier League predictions for the game week on this stream? Yeah, we can do predictions, absolutely. We'll do that towards the end of the stream, though, but definitely we can do some predictions. Mount to De Bruyne and Cucurella to Estepinian for a -8, or do you have any other suggestions? Mount to De Bruyne and Cucurella to Estepinian. I obviously really like De Bruyne and Estepinian, but a -8 to take out 2 players. I mean, Cucurella's just a bit naff, isn't he? He doesn't even start most games. Mason, I don't mind it. Yeah, I don't mind it. I wouldn't know to give you any other suggestions without seeing your team. But generally, I don't mind that. That as hits go, they look like 2 really nice players coming in. I really do think Estepinian, as we'll discuss in a second. Actually, let me just get that up now. What one do I want? I want that one. And then I want that. These are some of my favourite defensive assets at the moment if you're looking to bring some in. And as you can see, out of all the players that I really like, obviously outside Shaw and Trippier, Estepinian has probably the best expected goal involvement. So I really do like Estepinian as an option. Just bear in mind that if we do go back to this one, that if Newcastle make the EFL Cup final, there's a good chance that Brighton blank in 25. That being said, like I said, Brighton have 2 fixtures to be rearranged in Game Week 25. Not in Game Week 25. They have 2 fixtures to be rearranged, one of which could be rearranged into Game Week 25, which would give them a single game week once again. So even if Newcastle make the final, that doesn't guarantee a Brighton blank. It does guarantee a Newcastle blank, but it doesn't guarantee a Brighton blank. So, yeah, I don't mind Estepinian as an option. I think that's absolutely fine to bring him in. Jammer is given a super chat but attached no message. So please feel free to attach a message and I'll try and find it for you. Should I buy Ødegaard? I do think Ødegaard is one of the best, if not the best midfielders to own at the moment. We'll talk about midfielders in a second and Arsenal assets. But yeah, I do really like Ødegaard. Kepa or Ward is a question that's getting asked loads. So let me run a poll for you. Let me run a poll for everyone. There you go. So at the top, there is a poll now, if you want to click on that, to just vote if you would start Kepa. Obviously, if you own them, just vote on who you're starting, but who you would start out of Kepa away against Liverpool versus Ward, Brighton at home. Once that poll's been up for a few minutes, I'll give my opinion, but I want to give my opinion once you voted, because obviously as soon as I give my opinion, that might change. Jonas has said, I've got Dunk and I've made a wildcard team. Edison, Trippier, got drunk. So I read that as I've got Dunk. Like I've got Lewis Dunk. I got drunk and made a wildcard team. Edison, Trippier, Botman, Stones, Rashford, Saka, Ødegaard, Rodrigo, Tony, Haaland, Kane. Bench of Martinelli, Shaw and Martinez. Yeah, that's a really nice team. My only concern would be if the teams that we think blank will blank, you've got Martinez, Shaw, Tony, Rashford, Botman, Trippier. So you've got 6 players that are probably going to blank in game week 25. So that would cause concern for me, especially if you've just wildcarded. But outside of that, yeah, I really like the team. Kepa just for being a better goalkeeper. Ward can't make as many saves. So I did look at this and then I forgot the stat. Kepa makes just over 3 saves per game week. So Kepa makes on average, he'll get you a save point. Ward is just under. So I think Ward's was like 2.65 and Kepa's was like 3.3 or something like that. So yes, it's less than a save more a game, but Kepa does make more saves. So that is definitely a reasonable piece of justification that you're probably more likely to get. If you think both will concede, you're probably more likely to get save points from Kepa. Loads of people activating their wildcard. Well, not loads, but I've seen at least kind of 5, 6, 7 messages recently where people are saying that they've activated the wildcard. I've got one free transfer and Cancelo. Should I make a transfer and who for? I'd be tempted to just start him and hope or start someone from your bench. The issue I've got with defenders this week, like I said, is we don't know what's happening with blank game week 25. We don't know what's happening with upcoming doubles in 22 yet. Like, we don't know if that's obviously confirmed. It's provisionally announced that Manchester United and Leeds have a double, but with all of these things up in the air, I find it difficult to try and recommend a good replacement for Cancelo. And what you don't want to do is replace Cancelo this week and then have to replace that defender again in the next couple of weeks. So if you can, I would avoid making a defensive transfer this week just until we get a little bit more information. Martial out for Brennan Johnson. I like Brennan Johnson a lot, but I think there are potentially slightly better long-term picks. But I do really like Brennan Johnson. And Nottingham Forest obviously look really good at the moment. They've got a great fixture this week away at Bournemouth. I don't hate it. Is Darwin Núñez going to start? I obviously don't know that for certain, but it looks like there's a reasonable chance. Yes, he's in contention, and I think if he's fit, he starts. Hopefully we'll get early team news for those of you that still have Darwin, or if you're looking to transfer him in. I miss him in my team. One sec, my face is really bright. I'm just going to turn my lighting down. I'm back. It's still really bright. I'm just really pale. It's the winter. I haven't seen sun in months. What are you doing with Reece James? I'm keeping him for now for the reasons that I just said with Cancelo, in that I really just don't know who I want to replace Reece James with. I want Botman, but Botman's likely to blank. I want Estepinian, but Estepinian could blank. I might go for a Leeds defender because actually defensively they've not been that bad recently. But do I want that long term? I don't want to load up on another Man United defender because Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, I just think long term is an issue picking one or the other. I think the centre-backs are fine, but they've got no attacking threat. And again, they blank in 25. I like Ben Mee, but again, he could blank in 20. I know I keep focusing on 25, and I'll go back to this graphic here for you. I don't want to completely destroy my team and not bring in players I want just for one game week. But at the same time, I've already got 4 players from this missing. I've already got Reece James as well. So let's say 5 players. I need to be careful that I don't just load up on all of these teams. So just to recap, if you've not watched any of the content, whoever makes the EFL Cup final out of Southampton, Forest, Man United, Newcastle, those 4 teams, they will blank in 25 along with the team that they play as well. Apart from, there's a small chance actually that Brighton, a very small chance that Brighton don't blank in 25, even if Newcastle make the final, because they've got 2 fixtures to be rearranged. And Ben Crellin said there's a reasonable likelihood that they could get one of those added into Game Week 25. FPL is more of a hobby. Says, here's an off-topic question. I've always wondered, how old are you, Ross? I don't know if this is a joke because it's often talked about on the show. Let me know, chat, how old you think I am. Only say how old you think I am if you don't know how old I am. But yes, I will tell you how old I am in a second. Foden to Ødegaard, Mitrovic to Tony for a -4. Foden to Ødegaard, Mitrovic to Tony. Yeah, I quite like that. Do both, do one, or roll the transfer. Can also cancel the Tony move and do Patterson to Estepinian. Foden to Ødegaard feels like a really nice one, so I have no issue with Foden to Ødegaard. Mitrovic to Tony for a -4 is always dodgy if Mitrovic is still on pens and if you think Tottenham will concede chances. But in general, I really like the entire -4. Maybe Patterson to Estepinian, depending on the rest of your defence, might be a slightly more sensible move to make because Mitrovic isn't an issue. Patterson kind of is an issue. So yeah, Foden to Ødegaard's the obvious one. I would be happy making either of the others for -4. It's kind of up to you. Sam Ritchie says, should I start Almiron or Rodrigo? Almiron or Rodrigo? Who would you start, chat? I think I would actually start Rodrigo myself. If I had Almiron and Rodrigo. I'd like to start both of them, to be honest. Right, how old does everyone think I am? 34, 69, 52 years old. 75 years old. Nice. 40 years old. 42. Are you 41 years old? There you go. You've got me. 41. No, I'm 25 years old. I'm 26 years old in March. I don't know why I said March, like I wasn't sure when I was born. I was born in March 1997. I'm 25 years old. I'm 26 in March. Sorry, mate. First time using the super chat. No worries at all. Plan was Patterson to Stones and bench Luke Shaw. Plans Patterson to Stones and bench Shaw. Okay. Now I'm feeling rogue and considering Almiron to Mahrez instead. So if I'm a sensible content creator and I give you sensible advice, Jammer, I would say that Patterson to Stones and bench Shaw is the best move possible for your team. You're getting rid of an injured player. You're getting a player who is starting for City and has a double game week. And you're benching Shaw, who we think will concede. Almiron to Mahrez does have a lot of upside. I just wonder if that could wait until the double game week 23. I guess you probably couldn't afford it then. I think Patterson to Stones and bench Shaw makes sense. But if you really have a gut feeling about Mahrez this week and you don't want Almiron to Mahrez is a massive upside move, and it's quite a differential move as well. So yeah, there you go, Gemma. I would do the Stones move, but I don't mind either. Ward, so Father sent me his team. What would I do? Roll the transfer. That team looks very close to like a wildcard team. But also, like I say, you've also got some players that might blank in 25. So I think you could probably get away with rolling and just assessing next week what you want to do. What does it say on your hat? It says, let me copy it. I don't even know how you pronounce it. It's this. It's a brand, but it's also a saying in like film. Someone will tell me how you pronounce it. It's like Deus Ex Machina. Is that brand? I think that's what it says. Lean my bald head forward so that you can read the cap. Even knowing these potential blanks, we have no idea what other fires will pop up over the next 4 weeks, especially with UCL round of 16 just before game week 25 as well. Absolutely. And the thing is, I can see loads of people already looking at Man United players as well for game week 22. Some people bring them in this week. Manchester United play 4 fixtures if you include this week, before game week 22. Right, we've got 3 cup fixtures. So I would just, if you've got nothing you desperately need to do and you've got no really sort of high upside attacking picks, and like I said, you don't have to roll. Like, there are some really nice transfers this week. If you want to, I think rolling is a good strategy. But I'm slightly tempted to still use my transfer for sure. Not for sure. S-U-R-E, for sure. Would you start Shaw or White? What do we think on that, chat? I'm very, very opinionated on that. But would you start Luke Shaw or Ben White? Luke Shaw or Ben White? I would probably lean... I'm not going to say it. Let the chat decide, and then I'll give my opinion on it, because I think recent developments has made that a fairly easy one for me. Bench Kepa and Shaw for Sanchez and Estepinian. Yeah, I would start Sanchez and Estepinian. Double up on the Brighton defence. I could easily see them keeping a clean sheet there. Yeah. There you go. The chat agree with me. It's Ben White for me. I just think that Ben White's got the home fixture. He's also got decent attacking data. It's not far off Luke Shaw. So I don't think Luke Shaw's a massively more attacking left back. Like, Ben White's getting up and down the pitch. And Casemiro being injured makes Man United so bad attacking and defensively. Like, I think people underestimate... Everyone knows how good he is at his defensive job. People underestimate how good he is going forward as well. And he's been so creative for us. And he just gets the ball forward a lot quicker than some of our other midfielders. You could see the likes of Fred and McTominay. It's not really an insult to them. They do a lot of sideways passing. A lot of Casemiro's passing is breaking the lines. So I think we're really, really going to miss him. So yeah, I think Arsenal will have a field day. I could see this being a bit of a massacre without Casemiro, unfortunately. If you can get away with benching both, I don't hate that. But yeah, I'm really gutted, even from a neutral perspective, that Casemiro's out of this game. Because I think if Casemiro was in this fixture, I think all of a sudden it's a really good game. I still think Arsenal are favourites, obviously. But I think it's a very good game. Why did Ten Hag risk Casemiro? We needed to go for the 3 points. If Ten Hag benched Casemiro and we lost to Palace, I know we didn't win anyway, but if he benched Casemiro and we lost to Palace, then all of a sudden he's getting asked questions, why did you rest him for Arsenal when you needed 3 points in this game? So I feel like the only way he was ever going to win was if he rested Casemiro and we won, or he didn't rest Casemiro and we won, but he didn't get booked. So it was always a tricky one for him to try and work out. Hi, Raptor. Rodrigo for Zaha or a Brighton midfielder If so, which one would you suggest or hold the transfer? Thanks. Yeah, well, let's have a bit of a discussion because I've seen a few questions around Solly March and Matoma as well. In my opinion, I think that Matoma is the Brighton asset to own. Across the season, Matoma's got slightly better data. In the last 6 game weeks, Solly March has slightly better data, but Matoma is a bigger goal threat. Now, I did discuss this with a lot of different people and a lot of different Brighton fans, and something which I didn't consider in my video because I'm not a Brighton fan and I've probably only watched 4 or 5 Brighton games this season, is apparently Matoma is a very poor finisher. So you do need to take that into account. But if Matoma's getting more chances, Matoma is the greater goal threat, Matoma is slightly closer to goal, and also passing the eye test along with Solly March, I just think Matoma's a slightly better pick. But I think they are both very, very good. I would say I'm probably 55% Matoma, 45% March. Like I said, in recent weeks, March has got slightly better non-penalty expected goal involvement. But it's made up for a lot of expected assists. So if March gets goals, then he's fine. And apparently March is a much better finisher. A couple of Brighton fans have told me that. But he doesn't get as many big chances to score goals, where he's more creative. And he will get chances to score, but he won't get as many as Matoma. So hopefully that's clear. I would always prefer the player that's getting more chances on goal. Wow, you've achieved a lot for 25 years old. Thank you, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you to say. Here's my final opinion on Matoma versus March. And this is fully an opinion. I'm just making assumptions that I've got no evidence to support. I think that Solly March is very much like an Almiron or a Lingard, where Solly March will go on a hot run. And when he's on that hot run, I think he will do very, very well. When I look at Matoma, I think Matoma is a player that could keep up a consistent level of performance for a longer period of time. And this could be his level. I do think he's that good. He's obviously very, very young as well. I think he's young. Is he young? Have I just made that up? Let me check. Matoma, is he like 22? Have I just made that up completely? 25. Oh, he's still relatively young, in the prime of his career. How old's Solly March? I just make stuff up sometimes and I just have no backing for it. Solly March is 28. God, he's so old. No, but really, I just look at Matoma and I think Matoma can keep this up for a long period of time. Evidence from the rest of Solly March's career is that he's a very good footballer, but he's probably not going to keep up this level of sort of goal scoring form, etc. That's just my opinion on it. So, I would lean Matoma. Oh, my camera's gone. Nice and early. I would lean Matoma, but it doesn't mean I dislike March by any means. I would be very, very tempted to double up as well. I know it feels weird doubling up on 2 £5 million Brentford players, but Brighton players, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in this case. Alas says, would you swap Martial for Nketiah or bench Martial and Shaw and start Andreas and Estepinian? Oh, that's a tricky one. If Martial's back for next week, like I say, is a great option. I would be Andreas and Estepinian are 2 really good players to start, especially if Andreas is going to get penalties off Mitrovic now. We don't know that, but there's a small chance that's the case. I'd be tempted to start Andreas and Estepinian and just assess Martial next week. And if next week you want to make that move, Martial to Nketiah then could be really nice. Flexbox says, always love your videos and stream in the morning to start my day with a coffee. That's awesome to hear. Thank you. Martial to Ferguson, enabler, and Mitrovic to Kane for a -4 from a fellow Baldy. I don't dislike it. I've said before, I've got issues with Ferguson because I don't know if Ferguson's going to start ahead of Welbeck forever. At the moment, he looks like he's got that spot nailed down. I don't mind it, but I would probably keep Martial Mitrovic. But if you do want Kane and you think Kane's a really good option this week, bear in mind that Fulham aren't bad, then yeah, I don't dislike it, Flexbox. But yeah, thank you for the nice words as well. Are you tempted to use a transfer on Almiron to Matoma or more to rolling transfer? I'm currently leaning towards rolling a transfer, but I am tempted on Almiron to Matoma. I'm also tempted on Mitrovic to Nketiah or Gnonto, but I'm probably more likely to do that next week if I want to. A -4 hit for Bueno to dunk. -4 hit for Bueno to dunk. Not that keen on that one. Why are you hiding, Ross? I'm not. I'm just resetting my camera because it overheats. There you go. I'm back. Right. So that poll hasn't changed for a while. Then, so I'm going to end that. 70% of people think you should start Kepa if you've got Kepa and Ward, and about 30% think you should. I don't know why it says 70% and 29, but then about 30% think you should start Ward. So my opinion on it is I would usually back two things. I would back the clean sheet odds, and I would normally back the home fixture. In this case, the clean sheet odds suggest that Ward is more likely to keep a clean sheet, and Ward is at home as well. So the two things that I would usually look at would tell me that Ward is a slightly better keeper to start than Kepa this week. That being said, Kepa makes more saves. And if you said one of Brighton, Leicester and Liverpool, Chelsea ends 0-0, I would expect it to be the Liverpool-Chelsea game that ends 0-0 because both teams have been pretty poor recently. But Liverpool are still attacking well. And if Darwin is back, they're probably going to get chances to score. Whether he converts them or not, I don't know. I feel like Kepa has a higher ceiling because Liverpool take so many shots and Kepa makes so many saves that if he does keep a clean sheet, that's going to be like a 12 or 13 pointer for Kepa. I don't know. It's up to you. If it were my team, I would probably start Danny Ward, but I think most people would suggest start Kepa. 70% of the chat say to start Kepa as well. So let's say start Kepa, but I would be very tempted to start Danny Ward myself. Game week prediction. Kepa's going to get a huge clean sheet, 2 save points and 3 bonus points. Wolves are going to score 1 goal and Edison is going to get a yellow for time wasting to get a solid 1 pointer. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That would not surprise me at all. If you are enjoying today's stream, by the way, guys, please do drop a like on the video or drop a like on the stream. And also please to subscribe as well. We are approaching 60,000 subscribers. We need 255 subscribers to hit 60,000. So if you're one of the 3,300 that haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel and help me to reach 60,000 subscribers. I'd really appreciate that. Start Doherty over White. Better fiction either starts or doesn't cameo. Botman and Trippier, my other defenders, and Bueno on the bench. Yeah, if I had Doherty, Botman. Yeah, if I had those defenders, I would probably end up benching Ben White. But bear in mind that Arsenal defence is quite highly owned. So if Arsenal do keep a clean sheet, that's going to really hurt your rank. Unless Doherty obviously matches him or outscores him. But yeah, if those were my defenders, Jonas, I would start Doherty, Botman and Trippier. Does Haaland start? I think Haaland will start. I think Haaland will get at least sort of 75, 80 minutes. But if you don't think he'll start, then captain someone else. Who would you captain if you were going to go against Haaland? In my team, it would probably be Kane. Because like I said, the only reason I would go against Haaland is if I don't think he's going to get that many minutes. Either he's not going to start or he's going to come off early. If that is the case, that makes De Bruyne a weaker option as well. Because I would want De Bruyne feeding Haaland. I also don't know if De Bruyne has fully resolved this personal issue that he had. We assume he has. We assume it was just one game where Pep kind of gave him a bit of time off. But we don't know. Well, I haven't seen exactly what the personal issue is. It's a bit of a risk there. And that team performed pretty well against Spurs, right? So he could just put out exactly the same 11, give De Bruyne a little bit more time. So for me in my team, if I'm not going to captain Haaland, it would be Harry Kane. But listen, Fulham are pretty good, especially at Craven Cottage. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fulham beat Spurs and keep them out. But I do think that Kane is very, very good in these kind of fixtures. Mitrovic to Gnonto. We've spoken about him already. I do really like him. And obviously the double in 22. Just to bear in mind as well, that double in Game Week 22 is not confirmed for Manchester United. And for Leeds, Manchester United and Leeds both have to avoid a 4th round FA Cup replay in order for that double Game Week 22 to go ahead. All right, so that is not a confirmed double. Do bear that in mind. That might change the way that you think about bringing in players this week. It's another reason that I really do want to try and wait until 22 to make some of the moves that I'm thinking about. Just because we want to see if that double's confirmed or not. Would you start Shaw or Ben Mee? Thank you for the amazing content. I would start Ben Mee personally. I think Shaw will concede, and his attacking threat's been okay, but it's still not exceptional. So I would probably start Ben Mee. If I had a better defender this week, I would bench Shaw, but at the moment it's Castagna or Shaw. I'll run that poll just so that you guys can help me whilst you're asking your questions. Don't worry, I will continue to help ask. Don't worry, I will continue to help answer your questions. Let's do. So, who would you start? There you go. I've just put a poll in the chat, guys. Please feel free to vote on that poll. I would very much appreciate it. Also, make sure to subscribe. I asked you to subscribe and no one subscribed. That's just that. Now you've made me sad. Nice one. Yeah, like I said, we are trying to hit 60,000 subscribers on this stream, so please do, and then you'll see a happy Raptor. I'd start Castagna because we are putting at least 4 past you. Maybe Brighton only score 1. Maybe. I am tempted to start Castagna because I feel like in my team, and I know this shouldn't affect me, I feel like the team's very template and highly owned. Bringing in Castagna for sure could be a really nice way to just differentiate my team slightly. I don't know. I think both teams will concede. I think Man United and Leicester will both concede, to be fair. Castagna does have decent attacking. I don't know. I'll have a think about it. Hi, Ross. Mount and Martial to Ødegaard and Tony or do nothing. On the bench are Andreas and Bueno. I have money also for Patterson to White. Mount and Martial to Ødegaard and Tony does sound really nice. I'd be very, very tempted by that. Just bear in mind, obviously, that if Martial's back next week, then you're going to have sold a double game week. If we get the double game week, you're going to have sold a double game week striker before Palace and Leeds at home. I don't hate it, but it just depends on where you think Martial's at and if you think he'll start both games in the double. But yeah, I really like that -4 otherwise, Edislav. Hey, Ross. Somerville out for March or roll. My team is similar to yours, except I have Botman and Tony. Sounds like your team's better than mine. I think Somerville to March or Matoma sounds like a really nice transfer. I have absolutely no issues with that. I think Matoma and March both look like players that over at least the short term will continue to perform the way they are. So there we go. Mount out for Ødegaard, in for a hit. So Mount to Ødegaard for a hit. Long term, that will pay off. If that pays off in a single game week, you can never tell. But yeah, I would much prefer to have Ødegaard over Mount long term. The issue that you've got with players like Martial, Foden, Mahrez in the future to some extent is that you can always justify keeping them a little bit longer, like especially the Man City midfielders. You can always say, well, if they didn't start this week, maybe they'll... So let's say Foden doesn't start in game week 21 and you've still got Foden. You could say, well, the fact that he didn't start in game week 21, I feel like he will start in game week 22, so I'm going to keep Foden 1 more week. Equally, if Foden does start in 21, you could say, well, maybe Foden's back in Pep's good books. I'm going to keep Foden. So I feel like you can always justify keeping those kind of assets for another week. And it's the same with Martial, like with these fitness issues and with Wout Weghorst being in the team now. You could say, I'll keep him 1 more week because he could start. And then if he does start 1 and he's got a niggle, well, I'll keep him again because he might recover. So sometimes it can be nice to just bin off these players. I said this to someone earlier. It can be nice. Foden's a prime example. Just sell them. Because even if they start, you just feel better not having them in your team anymore and worrying about them. Thoughts on Aurier, Gibbs, White, Johnson? I think Aurier and Johnson would be my favourite two. Gibbs-White is decent, but I think there are some other really nice options in that midfield. Not in Forest midfield, but in the midfield in FPL in general. So I think Aurier is a really nice defender. I did talk about Aurier briefly before. Is it that one? There we go. Like, I had Aurier on my list for defensive assets in my game week preview video this week. And Johnson, I think, has looked really, really good in recent weeks as well. Really good data, and I just think a decent asset to own. I don't mind any of them. Aurier would probably be my first choice just because I think that defenders are hard to come by at the moment, good defenders, whereas there are loads of decent attackers and midfielders instead of Gibbs, White and Johnson. Hi, Ross. Bottom of my mini league with my friends. What do you think of Salah captain and starting Andreas over Martinelli? I have Ødegaard to cover Arsenal. If you're bottom of your mini league, Daniel, and you want to take a massive punt, I don't mind Salah captain and starting Andreas over Martinelli. Salah captain, I really don't mind because I do think Salah's still got good data. Chelsea are quite poor defensively. I expect Liverpool to score goals there. Andreas over Martinelli, I'm not a massive fan of, unless you do think that Andreas has taken penalties off of Mitrovic. Because from open play, Martinelli's a much greater goal threat. He's got much better data, and I would expect him to, about 99 times out of 100, outscore Andreas. So, yeah, I don't mind that. But I feel like that's maybe chasing points that aren't there and trying to do something different just for the sake of it. So be a little bit careful. Just because you're bottom doesn't mean that you need to take unnecessary risks, I don't think. Lars Eric is just putting my rap tier 2 member. Thank you very much, Lars. I appreciate you. Sophie says, should I make any changes? Edison, Trippier, White, Botman, Stones, Rashford, Martinelli, Trossard, Almiron, Mitrovic, Haaland, bench of Kepa, Shaw, Salah, and Martial. Why? I wouldn't bench Salah. I would bring Salah in for Trossard, unless you think Trossard's going to start. I see that you're an Arsenal fan by your display picture, so if you think Trossard will start, that's fine. Otherwise, I would bring Salah and start him in ahead of Trossard. But other than that, yeah, the team looks really strong. I think rolling a transfer is fine with that team. You've already got Shaw, Salah, and Martial on your bench. Like, I don't think you need to make a transfer of that team. It looks really strong. Hey, Ross. At the back, I have Shaw, Trippier, and White, starting with James and Patterson on the bench. I want to roll, but unsure about a defensive transfer. I think you're fine to just roll then. I know that you've only got 3 defenders as a result, but all 3 of those will start. They're not great this week, but they're fine. And next week, you can make a more informed decision about who you want to bring in for one of Patterson and James. I think this week, it's difficult to make a good informed decision on which defender you want to bring in. So for that reason, I'm maybe not a massive fan. So I basically, I would roll. Joey says, should I get rid of Cancelo for who? Should I keep Kepa/Ward or bring in Pope or roll the transfer? Should I get rid of Cancelo for who? Or same issues here. I'm really struggling to recommend good defensive assets because we don't know what's happening with upcoming game weeks and they've all got potential issues. And I think keeping Kepa Ward is absolutely fine. So I would roll the transfer there. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, and it's not the only thing that you can do this week, but in cases where you're unsure on the transfer, delaying it one more week should give us quite a lot of clarity. We'll have clarity on Game Week 22. We'll have clarity on Game Week 25. We'll know a little bit more about upcoming blanks in 28 and 29. The blank in 28 and the double in 29. This is one of those weeks where we're going to get a lot of information between Game Week 21 and Game Week 22. And I think that information will be invaluable. So, again, if you want to, I would probably roll that transfer there. Smells Like Yellow 182 says, Gabriel to Ake. Not for me. I'll just keep Gabriel. Arsenal defence is fantastic. They could keep a clean sheet this week. They've also got a double in 23. They've got a good fixture in Game Week 25. And he's absolutely nailed with greater goal threat than Ake as well. It's not that I dislike Ake, I just think Gabriel's a really nice option. Come on, guys, let's get into 60k, almost there. Thank you, Troy. Who would you start between Shaw or Fabian Schär and Havertz or Almiron? Also, triple captain for Haaland this week versus Wolves. I don't like triple captain in a single game week, although I triple captained him in a double and I got 8 points. So who am I to say? But I don't like triple captain personally. I think there'll be better times to play it. Who would I start between Shaw and Fabian Schär? I would start Fabian Schär. Havertz and Almiron, I think that's like a 50-50. I'd probably just about lean Almiron, but I think they're both really nice options for this week. I think Havertz could do really well against Liverpool. Sam asked, Stones for Lewis to start instead of Shaw for a -4. I think that Lewis could end up starting. He did look a little bit knackered by the end of the Spurs game, so maybe he's not going to get this one here, but I don't mind Stones in for Lewis. But again, if Lewis does start, then that feels like a waste of a transfer. I would maybe just start Lewis ahead of Shaw and hope he starts, unless I've missed something and Lewis isn't fit or something. But otherwise, Stones is a better long-term option than Lewis, but we've known that for a while, so it's up to you, Sam. I would probably just start Lewis myself. Botman for James, Matimo for Andreas taking a hit. Oh, Matoma. Botman for James, Matoma for Andreas taking a hit. Yeah, Botman and Matoma in for James and Andreas seems fine. I do still think that Andreas is a fine option long term, but yeah, Matoma's obviously an upgrade. Botman's good for James. I have no issue with that. Start Kepa or Ward. We did a poll. 70% of the chat thought that you should start Kepa. 30% thought you should start Ward. I think it's basically a 50-50, unfortunately, which is why so many people are struggling. It depends what's more important to you. Is it more important to have the home fixture? Is it more important to have more save points? Is it more important to have better clean sheet odds? Like, once you decide what's important to you, it becomes a lot easier to decide which of the two you want to start. Should I play Ben Mee or one of either Shaw or White? I would say Ben White, Ben Mee, Luke Shaw. So I would say White's still the best option, followed by Mee, followed by Shaw. Tyler Joseph says, hi Ross, what changes do you suggest? I've got Edison, Trippier, Shaw, Castagna, KDB, Rashford, Martinelli, Almiron, Kane and Haaland. Bench of Kepa, Bueno, White and Andreas. Firstly, I would get White into your starting 11. Outside of that, I would probably roll the transfer because your team's largely fine. If you do want to make a transfer, I guess it's maybe Almiron to Matoma or Almiron to March, but I don't think you need to rush that transfer. I think the team's fine without making that transfer, Tyler. But yeah, I would personally have White in the starting 11 myself. What would be your plans moving forward if you do roll this week? I'll jump over in a second and I'll talk you through what my plans currently look like for kind of the next couple of weeks. But it is largely dependent on what news we get around the double. Your advice about getting those annoying players out of your team was spot on. Martial out means, assuming you have Shaw Rashford, that you can easily go Salah, KDB to Bruno for the potential double. Yeah, that's true. Having a spot open for Bruno could be really nice. I'm still hesitant. I might do De Bruyne to Bruno, but then I would need to do Bruno back to De Bruyne for Game Week 23 probably. I feel like it's probably a 2-transfer thing to bring in Bruno for De Bruyne for me. If you have Salah, I think you're in a much better position because you can do Salah to Bruno and you don't need to rush straight back to get Salah. You could probably get Salah back in Game Week 25 or someone else in Game Week 25. Solly March has scored 8 times in 160 Premier League appearances. That's true. He has played at left wing back and right wing back a lot. But yeah, like this is what I'm trying to say though. I think the Matoma could keep up this level for a long time. I think this is a hot streak for Solly March. So if it continues, then great. It will stop at some point, in my opinion, anyway. Just started watching, but what are your thoughts on Mahrez? I really like Mahrez. Looks like his first choice. How long that will go on for, I have no idea. But yeah, I will admit that I was probably slightly wrong on Mahrez. That I thought he would start to get rotated a little bit more. But it still looks like he absolutely hates Foden. And I cannot work out why he hates Foden so much. And it looks like he absolutely loves Grealish. And in a similar vein, I can't understand how Grealish continues to start ahead of Foden. So with all of that to be said, I think that Grealish will start most of the time on the left. I think Foden will occasionally come on for Grealish on the left. Whilst Bernardo Silva and Alvarez can play on the right, it doesn't look like Pep wants to play them there too often. So at the moment, Mahrez looks like they're starting right winger, and it doesn't look like he has that much competition. So, yeah, I do not have an issue with buying Mahrez at the moment if you fancy it. Would you swap out KDB to Mahrez? I wouldn't do that, but I would be tempted as like a greater set of moves. Like if that gave you the money to do like Mitrovic to Kane and you wanted to make that switch or something like that, I don't mind it. But just a straight shootout between KDB and Mahrez, I think I still just about prefer KDB. I suppose once you take into account value and money, Mahrez is a better asset to own. And Mahrez has greater goal threat than KDB. But yeah, I'm not sure I like Foden's KDB. Sorry, KDB to Mahrez. Would you start Walker or Shaw? Probably Walker and just hope that he starts, but I don't know that he will. But yeah, I think Walker's just got a much, much greater chance for a clean sheet if he does start. So I'd probably start Walker, but bear in mind that there's a chance he doesn't start, and then of course he can come off the bench. Would you start Botman or Shaw? I'd start Botman. I really don't think Manchester United will keep a clean sheet. I hope I'm wrong. Because I obviously am a Man United fan, but I can't see it. I'm very tempted to start Castagna, chat. I know, so 68% of you have said start Shaw. 32% of you think I should start Castagna. I'm still very tempted to start Castagna. Even if Luke Shaw, I don't know. I'm looking at ownership too much. I think the only reason I want to start Castagna is because he's got like 2% ownership. So if he does something, that's going to really help. But I shouldn't look at ownership, should I? And I think maybe Luke Shaw's a slightly better option if I don't look at ownership. Cucurella, Salah, Trossard out for Botman, KDB, and Saka. Cucurella and Trossard out, I don't mind. Trossard will get minutes, but I don't think it'll be straight away. He'll get like 20 minutes here and there. Yeah, that looks like a good set of upgrades, assuming that's for a -4 and not a -8. I'm not sure how I feel about that for a -8, that set of transfers. But I do like it, Draco. I think you're bringing in 3 really good players and only taking out 1 decent one in Salah. You want to be there for Castagna's back post header for the 53rd game week in a row. I've accepted Marcus. It's probably not happening. I think I've probably just called that one incorrectly. But he does still... Every time I watch, he is just lingering at that back post. If someone could bloody find him, that would be useful. I'm just going to try this on for size. I'm just trying it on for size. We'll just leave it there. Let's see how I feel. I'm just going to look at that. It looks less symmetrical. I'm a big fan of the white Martinelli, Shaw, Rashford, the way it looks on my screen. I don't know if that's how you should be deciding which players to start and which players to bench, though. Ross, have you heard of Canvey Island? I have indeed. What's the question around it? Leicester aren't keeping a clean sheet, but do you think Manchester United are keeping a clean sheet, Ryan? I don't think either will keep a clean sheet. You have nice diagonal stripes, whitish and blue. I do. Some really nice diagonal stripes in there. Ward, Trippier, Shaw, Share. Andreas, Martinelli, Rashford, Salah, Erdegaard, Haaland, Darwin. Bench is Kepa, Mitrovic. Struggling here, no transfer. I think you're fine. That team looks absolutely fine. I would be tempted to start Mitrovic and Cancelo, probably ahead of Andreas and Shaw. But I think your team's fine, Lucy. I don't see any major issues with that. Yeah, team's looking strong. No major issues. Michael, hi Ross. Who to bench out of Almiron, Bruno, Rashford, Matoma, Mitrovic? I think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet and Spurs are leaking goals. Thanks. If you think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet, bench Rashford. But that's obviously a slight risk. I would probably bench... Probably Almiron out of those options. Probably Almiron. But I don't like the idea of benching any of them, obviously, which is the reason you've asked me the question. Start Kepa or De Gea? Kepa, probably. Ross is secretly a Wolves fan. Look at his team's kit up the Wolves. No, it's the FPL Raptor colours. It's the orange and grey from Raptor. You should put Andreas in that Almiron spot on to try it on for size. No, I'm not. I love Almiron. Me and Almiron are great friends. Not really. I hate Almiron. I haven't owned Almiron all season. I brought him in and he's blanked. Devastated. United are going to get dunked on, so he chose Kepa. I think we were. I do. I think we're going to get dunked on. Absolutely. Because Casemiro's not there. If Casemiro was fit, I'd fancy our chances. And I would be starting Luke Shaw for sure. You should rebrand to FPL Amazing. Is that just a compliment, Marcus? You just being cute? Can't believe you've cursed Almiron. Good morning, Yelena. Good to see you. I have cursed Almiron. I knew it would happen. As soon as I brought him in, he was always going to blank. Almiron to Gibbs White. Nottingham Forest fans call him Gibbs Shite, which should probably tell you... No, I'm joking. I like Gibbs White. I think he's a good footballer. I still think that Almiron's a slightly better option. I also think I prefer Matoma and March as well. I think if you're going to bring in... If you're going to bring in a midfielder, I would go for one of the Brighton boys. I'm cute. It's official. You're extremely cute, Marcus. You know I love you. Why is everyone benching Shaw? If you think Man United will keep a clean sheet, then don't bench Shaw. I think Arsenal are going to humiliate us without Casemiro. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping that the fact that Casemiro's out isn't going to massively affect our defence, but I'm not feeling hopeful at all. I'm divorcing Mrs. FPLB for you. Good. That's what I like to hear. 3,000 live viewers and only 600 likes. What is this behaviour? Damn right. Outrageous, isn't it? Should I do Cucurella to White or Shaw? I got Bueno and Patterson on the bench. Cucurella to White or Shaw? I would prioritise... Man United have probably a double game week 22. Arsenal have probably a double game week 23, but I prefer White for this week. Take your pick. You want them both long term, but for next week... For this week, I prefer White. The week after, it's Luke Shaw. The week after that, it's Ben White. So it depends how you want to prioritise. I would probably bring in Ben White this week and then go for Shaw next week. So many people asking about Ben Mee, which someone in the chat will be happy to hear about. Ben Mee is fantastic. I would definitely look at bringing in Ben Mee. The only issue you've got with Ben Mee is that if Manchester United make the EFL Cup final, Ben Mee will blank in game week 25. So just bear that in mind. It's up to you if you think that matters. Like, you might not care about game week 25 for now. You might think that Manchester United will lose to Nottingham Forest in the semi-final of the EFL Cup. But yes, I would just be a little bit careful with Brentford assets for that reason. Is this your final 11? I'm pretty sure it is, but I could still make a transfer, so don't quote me on that. I could end up going a bit crazy. Looking to transfer out one of Cancelo, Mount and Martial. Who should be the one transfer out? Take your pick. None of them are great, are they? I think Mount probably... Just because, maybe Martial. I think Mount because you don't want him long term. Cancelo, I don't know what defensive assets you're going to want at the moment. And Martial, if he's fit for game week 22, is a really nice option. So I feel like Mount's the one there where you could transfer out this week. There are so many good midfielders you go for. Mainly Erdegaard and Matoma are probably my favourite two. I still like Solly March as well. So maybe Mason Mount would be my priority. FPL fella, first time watcher, great to see you last week. Thank you very much, man. Good to see you as well. Hopefully see you at one of the future meetups, I'm sure. I'm going to try and come down to London a little bit more. So thank you for being here, my man. 209 bench points so far this season. Anyone got any better? If anyone could be bothered to count their bench points or go onto a site that tracks their bench points, let us know. I'm on like 140 bench points, I think, Mikkel. 209 bench points that is unfortunate. You must have had a very strong bench. Ferguson or Andreas this week, Ross? I would start Ferguson. Assuming that he starts. Obviously, if Welbeck starts ahead of him, then that's a bit of a disaster. But Ferguson's data is really good at the moment. Look, here's his data. I mean, it is very obviously limited minutes, but he's got really, really strong data, Ferguson. So I would be very, very tempted to start him. Torn between Matoma and Rodrigo. That's gonna okay. That will move me on to the next part then. So I'm gonna answer that sort of question. Well, not really. I'm gonna have a little bit of think about it. I'm thinking next week that I will be bringing in one of Hematoma? Not hematoma, don't worry. I'm going to bring in one of Matoma or Rodrigo probably next week for me. So this is my team for this week. Let's say that I don't make a transfer and I roll. I'll go into next week with 0.3 in the bank and 2 free transfers. What am I going to do with my team? I'm currently thinking it will be... If Reece James is back, then I can obviously keep Reece James. But I know he's got West Ham, Bournemouth, Liverpool. They're 3 good fixtures. This is probably the time for me to say goodbye to Almiron, especially if Newcastle do make the final. If Newcastle don't make the final of the EFL Cup, I'd be very tempted to keep him. But let's say they do. And let's say Manchester United and Leeds get the double game week. I would be tempted to bring in Rodrigo for Almiron. Manchester United and Nottingham Forest, obviously, is the double. Then Man United, then Everton. The other thing that I like about Leeds is they've got Southampton at home in Game Week 25, which is a week where I think a lot of our teams won't look that great. So I'm tempted to bring in Rodrigo for Almiron. To fund that, I can do 2 things. I can sell Reece James, or I can sell Mitrovic for like that Gnonto striker. I would probably lean towards... Oh, do I want to take out Mitrovic before Chelsea and Forest? They're good fixtures. I really don't mind the Fulham fixtures, but if he's not on penalties, I'm tempted to do something like this. For the double next week, which would be both free transfers, bringing 2 Leeds players, and obviously I would start Luke Shaw as well, ahead of Castagna, switch player in there. And if Reece James is back, then maybe I would do that. And I would start Kepa ahead of Ederson as well. So this is roughly what my team would look like going into Game Week 22. As you can see, 100% team rating because it looks quite strong. I'd have Shaw, Rashford, Rodrigo, Gnonto, Kane, Haaland, De Bruyne is great. Obviously, I would captain Rashford almost definitely. Trippier, De Bruyne, like the team's looking really, really strong. The only player I'm missing still is Ødegaard and then one of Matoma and March. But I feel like I can prioritise Ødegaard next week. So I could even next week after the double... I could then do Rodrigo. I think I have the money to do this move. Yeah, I would have loads of money to do that move. So maybe bring in Ødegaard for the double. And obviously I would go back to captaining De Bruyne here. Does that make sense? So I think next week I'm probably prioritising double game week 22 if it happens. And I'm looking at Rodrigo and then maybe Gnonto or maybe another player. And then in game week 23, I'd probably look to move to Ødegaard. And then I would have my triple Arsenal. Torn between Matoma and Rodrigo. So hopefully I answered that super chat. I would say Rodrigo's a priority if Leeds and Man United get the double game week in 22, which we'll only find out after the 21 deadline. If you're not bothered by that double, then just go for Matoma. Should I stay with Martial? What do you think? I would probably sell him, but if you can keep him and you're happy with the players on your bench, then feel free to keep him because if you can keep him for 22, then and he's fit for 22. He could be a great option, of course. Are you tempted by Nketiah at all, Ross? I am slightly tempted by Nketiah. So the other option I've got is in 22, I could just bring Nketiah in for Gnonto. So here, it's not going to work now, is it? It's not going to allow this transfer. Yeah, because I've got too many Arsenal players. Let me reset. Reset team. No, I don't want to do that, do I? I want to get rid of in 23 Ødegaard. Back for Rodrigo. Give me a second to just explain what else I could do. That should work now. So rather than Rodrigo and Gnonto, I could go for I'm still not a big fan of saying his name because I feel like I'm saying it wrong. Nketiah. So I still have 0.3 in the bank there. So I can afford Rodrigo and Nketiah in, which means that in 23, ignore that 0.1 in the bank, I would be fine. I have the option then, I could potentially do Martinelli to Ødegaard. Right? So I guess I need to think about what is the Arsenal triple up I want. Is it White, Martinelli, Nketiah? White, Ødegaard, Nketiah? Or White, Martinelli, Ødegaard? I think that probably Nketiah is a slightly better option than Martinelli. But it obviously means that I don't get that second Leeds player for the double. So I have options. I have things to think about. And I do think that Rodrigo would be very likely to come into my team if Leeds get that double. And then I think I would move to Matoma or March after that. Bench 1, Saka, Almiron, Martinelli, Rashford, Matoma. I would bench... Oh, that's horrible, isn't it? I would bench probably Almiron. Unless you think... If you think Arsenal keep a clean sheet, you can bench Rashford. If you don't think there'll be many goals, maybe bench Martinelli. But yeah, I'd probably end up benching Almiron out of those players there. I've broken Almiron. Almiron's done for now. Why have you not got Tony? I never understand these kind of questions, Manraj, because you could say that about so many players. Why have I not got Matoma? Why have I not got March? Why have I not got Salah? Why have I not got this player? Like, you can't own everyone. So that's my reason, is that you can't own everyone, and I can't do Mitrovic to Tony in one move. So there we go. I would love to have Ivan Toney in my team, don't get me wrong. I still don't know if I'm going to start Castagna or Shaw. I don't know. I don't know, chat. And you're not being very helpful anyway. 68% of you say I should start Shaw, to be fair, so maybe I should just trust you. So my next question for you is anyone considering not captaining Haaland? And if so, who are you currently planning on captaining him? Or are we just going safe with Haaland? Last minute equaliser says, I'm currently blocked from getting Ødegaard as I have Ramsdale, White and Martinelli. Is it worth doing Ramsdale to Ederson this week to get Ødegaard next week? I don't think so. I would probably do Martinelli to Ødegaard. I think Ramsdale's a much better option than Ederson. So I would go Martinelli to Ødegaard. In this book I read, it says toss a coin if you're not happy with the outcome. Go with the opposite. Yeah, maybe I should listen to that person. They sound quite smart. The issue is I genuinely don't know. So I can do that in my head, and I don't feel comfortable with either particularly. Loads of people captain KDB. Captain Salah. Trippier. Ivan Toney captaincy. Could be good. Didn't he score a hat-trick against Leeds last season? I'm sure he got a 17-pointer against Leeds last season, Tony. If you can replicate that, you are laughing. You are laughing. What is the time? We've got just over 45 minutes till the deadline, so plenty of time to kind of finalise those decisions. Plenty of time to answer more questions, of course. Captain Kane? Yeah, I don't mind Captain Kane. I don't mind Captain Kane. I do think the Fulham are better than people still give them credit for, though, both defensively and from an attacking perspective. Foden replacements. I think Foden replacements would be the midfielders that I've spoken about. It would be Ødegaard, Rodrigo, Matoma, March. Probably one of those four. Take the money out of that spot a little bit. You could go for Saka if you fancy it, if you don't have him. But I think Ødegaard's the option to go for. Roll a transfer or upgrade Almiron to Ødegaard. I don't think you need to make the Almiron to Ødegaard move this week, but it's a move that you would probably want to make at some point. So I guess you could just get it done now. And like I said, without Casemiro in the team, Arsenal are probably going to score quite a few goals. It's up to you. Martin has just become a Rap Tier 2 member. Thank you very much for our... Let me try again. Thank you very much, Martin, for becoming a Rap Tier 2 member. I appreciate you. Lots of people asking about Brighton assets again. So I did discuss this throughout the week in my Game Week preview videos. I personally prefer Matoma to March. However, they are both really, really good options. So Matoma and March is virtually a 50-50. Matoma's got slightly greater goal threat in that he's getting a higher XG. March is getting more expected assists, so he's more creative. But people have commented on the fact that Matoma doesn't have the best finishing in the world. So if you're looking at the better finisher, it's probably Solly March. But all of that put together, I still think that Matoma is a slightly better option than March. So if I were to make the move for a Brighton midfield, I'd go Matoma. But like I said, it is virtually a 50-50. What about another Brighton asset like McAllister? I just showed you McAllister's stats. They're not good. I think it's Matoma, March, or no one. I would even avoid Ferguson and Welbeck just because I don't know who's going to start between them. So yeah, Matoma or March for me. Someone just comment. I love you guys. You guys make me laugh. So after that long rant about preferring Matoma, someone's just put March it is then. That's pretty funny. I really like March as well. Genuinely, 50-50. Flip a coin. If you're happy with it, then you go with that. Then other than that, you just maybe go for the other one. Oh, big stretch. There's nothing better than a big stretch. Tete Fulham versus Walker Man City. I'd start Walker. How far are you off 60,000 subscribers? That's a great question. I am 123. There must be 123 people watching that haven't subscribed. I'd be shocked if there were not. God, my brain's not working this morning. Which differential do you think is the best to own? I don't really look at ownership. Apart from obviously my own team, I know what their ownership is for video purposes, but I don't really look at ownership. I think just pick the players that you think will score the most points. But I think at the moment, the likes of Matoma, March are still quite lowly owned. Mahrez could be a really nice differential if you want to go there. Nketiah is still quite lowly owned, so I like Nketiah. The Gnonto, the Leeds forward, is also really, really nice as well. So there are some options there for sure. White or Shaw? I think the chat and myself agreed that we prefer Ben White to Shaw this week. Bench Andreas or Shaw? I would bench Luke Shaw and I would start Andreas. There's a good chance that Andreas is going to be on penalties. I know we've been saying that repeatedly, but how many penalties has Mitrovic missed this season now? Is it 3 or 4? He can't keep missing penalties and being given them. At that point, it's terrible management from Marco Silva. If you just keep letting a player that cannot take penalties, especially when Fulham have a good chance to finish in the top half of the table, maybe push for Europa the way they're playing. Probably not, but top half of the table, they need to score those penalties. And the penalties that he misses are always in big moments in the games. So I think Andreas could take penalties from now on. But yeah, I would start... So I would start Andreas ahead of Shaw, but I would start White ahead of Shaw as well. How are Spurs away from home? I haven't actually checked that data, Claudette. Does anyone know how Spurs have performed away from home in comparison to at home this year? That's a good question. Did anyone ever tell you that you must be Walter White's unknown son, both intellectual and by the looks? Never change, bro. You rule this game. I don't have a meth empire, but thank you. I appreciate that. Talk about KDB, please. What do you want to talk about, John? I think KDB's fine. I think he'll start. I don't particularly want to captain him. I think that's what there is. So Joshua says that Spurs are better away than at home by quite a bit. Spurs are good away from home. Okay. So everyone's saying that Spurs are pretty decent away from home. So there we go. Maybe Kane captain could be the one. That's exactly what someone who is hiding a meth empire would say. It is. I would never obviously admit it. Like, do you know what? I probably would tell you guys. I'm that honest with the chat that if I had a meth empire, I would probably tell you. As long as you promise not to. As long as you promise not to tell anyone, then I would probably tell you. Good morning, Ross. Good morning, Prod. Prod? Yeah, Prod. What are your plans for your team this week? I am probably rolling the transfer. If I do make a transfer, it would be Almiron to Matoma or Mitrovic to Nketiah or to Nyonso. One of those three. Almiron to Matoma, Mitrovic to either Nketiah or Nyonso. I just don't think that either of those moves need to be made this week. And like I said, because we get double Game Week 22 news before the Game Week 22 deadline, and we get blank Game Week 25 news before the Game Week 22 deadline, and potentially blank 28 and double 29 will get bits and pieces, I just feel like delaying the moves that I want to make one more week, having 2 free transfers next week, could be really valuable. So for that reason, I'm currently leaning towards rolling. But again, that's not 100% confirmed. Cucurella to Botman to not have to play Shaw or roll. I don't mind Cucurella to Botman. Yeah, I'd probably do that. Just bear in mind, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, that if Newcastle make the final of the EFL Cup, then we're not going to get any Newcastle assets in Game Week 25. They'll be blanking. So just bear that in mind and don't load up too much on assets from Manchester United, Brentford, Newcastle and Brighton. If I were in your shoes, I'd do Edison to a decent keeper. I'm not even going to entertain that comment. Best defensive assets. This one and then this one. I don't like any of them, to be honest. I think other than Shaw, Trippier, White, who I think are the best 3 to own, those final 2 spots for the defence are really, really big issues. If I had full free range to choose whoever I want and there weren't any blanks and doubles and stuff, I would probably go for Ben Mee or Estepinian. I think they're both fantastic options. But both Ben Mee and Estepinian, like I said, could blank in 25, which creates issues. Probably Botman as well, you could argue, is a really good option as well to double up on the Newcastle defence. I like all of the options on this list, but they all come associated with different issues. You missed my super chat, Ross, did I? I'm ever so sorry. Let me try and find that. I can't see it. It's gone. I'll try and look out for your name. I have Kane captain and KDB vice captain at the minute. I like it, Claudette. I like the bravery. I don't have an issue with it. To be fair, and this might sound a little bit harsh, but I personally think that Haaland is just a slightly worse version of Wout Weghorst. So I think if you're looking to captain someone else, I don't mind it. He's an overpriced, overhyped version of Weghorst, Haaland. Just being honest. We are officially 100 subscribers away from 60,000. If you want more fantastic opinions like Weghorst is better than Haaland, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Made Mahrez my captain. Yeah, I don't mind it if you think he'll start, but knowing Pep, he'll now bench Mahrez for like 5 games in a row. Haaland may be due a rest. I just don't think he'll ever get... I shouldn't say that. I think there's a good chance that he just doesn't get fully rested at any point. But yes, he has played a lot of minutes recently. I think he's played like 6 or 7 90 minutes in a row in the Prem. But he did get a bit of a rest in the 2 cup games that they had recently. So he has had a rest. I don't think he's played that much football. But yeah, there's a chance that he does get limited minutes in one of the coming games. Zayab says, hey Ross, going back and forth between benching Rashford against Arsenal, tough fixture without Casemiro, or Almiron versus Palace. I would still bench Almiron. I know I said that I think there's a chance White keeps a clean sheet and I think Arsenal will do very well. If we are to get anything from this game, we are going to have to probably defend slightly deeper and we are going to need to catch Arsenal on the break. So if we are going to get anything from this game, it is going to be Rashford that gets it. And I wouldn't bet against Rashford at the moment. So I would probably bench Almiron. But I think there's a good chance that both blank. I'm not particularly happy having both in my team this week, to be honest. Is it possible to be a better version of Weghorst? I can't think of anyone better. I don't think so. I think he's the best striker in world football. Is my camera gone again? Oh, do you know what? I give up. I don't think anyone wants to see my face anyway. 3,100 viewers, but less than 1,000 likes. Criminal behaviour. Thank you, Yelena. I'm glad someone agrees. Bench Martinelli for Matoma. Yeah, I probably would, to be honest. One sec. I'm going to strip whilst the camera's off, and then when I come back, I'll be wearing less clothes. But I need to mute my mic to do it because I don't want to smash the mic. 2 seconds. Right, I'm back. Dunk or White to start? I'd probably start Dunk, to be honest. Leicester are just a bit stinky, aren't they? How are you extra shiny today? Why do you feel like it's acceptable to go? Because I polished my head especially for you. So don't insult the shine. I feel like the camera's going to keep freezing today. It's having a nightmare. I'm going to buy a new camera in the summer, don't worry. I can't see you. I can't see you either, Eric. It's a bit of a shame, isn't it, really? I'm a little bit disappointed we don't have Raptors stinker meter yet. Is my new favourite thing to say that teams stink? I just feel like it's an insult that isn't too insulting. Does that make sense? Like, I think saying, like, I obviously don't want to swear on streams and videos, but saying that a team's stinky, I think is quite funny. I can't see your beautiful face. I love that everyone's so kind and you actually want to see my face. I'm just letting my camera relax a little bit. Martial to Tony or Roll? If it's for free, I really like Martial to Tony. If it's for a hit, I probably wouldn't bother. Do you think Cancelo will play the Wolves match? Do I think Cancelo will play the Wolves match? Probably not, but you could go for it if you want to. I think the issue is we don't know what defenders we probably want. Right, let's see if this camera's decided it wants to play. No, what? Aha, there I am. There I am. Anything from leaked lineups? I don't think so yet. I don't think so. Bench Martinelli or Darwin? Let's see if we get any news on Darwin, because if Darwin starts, then he could be a really nice option. So I'm just looking on Twitter if we've got anything. 2 seconds. No, I haven't seen anyone say they're going to get anything. Let me check Sam as well on Twitter. Okay, it doesn't look great. So Team News and Ticks or leaked lineups on Instagram, he's not posted anything yet. And then Sam, the other one that gets early team news, has said that he's out and about today, so he might not get the team news, but he'll post it if he gets it. So in other words, I don't think it's looking particularly promising, but we'll see. Rapteezy, predict how many minutes Trossard and Ings will get if you end up being correct for both players within a 5-minute leeway. I will become a member and donate every week. Right, chat, help me out here. This is the difference between me being able to feed my children and not being able to. I don't even have children, but this is putting food on my children's table, right? Predict how many minutes Trossard and Ings will get. If you end up being correct for both players within a 5-minute leeway, I will become a member and donate every week. So, chat, help me out here. Are we thinking that... So, Trossard isn't going to start. Ings could start, right? Has Ings been registered in time? I think both players have been registered in time. So I'm saying Trossard gets minutes off the bench. And I think that Ings will maybe start. Or do we not think Ings will start? I'm going to say... I'm not even going to look at the chat for help. I'm going to say that Trossard will get 18 minutes. And Ings will get 24 minutes. There you go. Trossard, 18 minutes. Ings, 24 minutes. Thank you for the super chat. And hopefully I will see you back next week with loads of donations. Give me your money. Sorry, I missed another one. Martial to Nketiah. I think that's a really nice transfer, assuming that Martial's not fit and that you don't think he'll be back in time to play both games in 22. Do bear in mind that there is a 2-week break before game week 22, though. So there is a chance that Martial will be back for 22. And if he starts both, I'd probably prefer Martial to Nketiah. Depends who you've got on your bench this week as well. Like, can you get away with Martial not playing in game week 21? How many subs now, mate? Oh, good question. I am 80... quick math. 74 subscribers away from 60,000. Yelena says, do you think I should bench Trossard? What do we think, chat? Should Yelena bench Trossard? Who would be the alternative option? If you start Trossard, who's on the bench? Is it Andreas? Is it basically Andreas versus Trossard? I don't think there's a world in which Trossard starts, but I could be wrong. I think Trossard will get minutes off the bench. How many minutes he gets probably isn't going to be that many, but he'll be eager to impress. So I don't hate it. But yeah, I would probably bench him. Don't take my advice, though. I give you terrible advice. Saka or Ødegaard, state the reason, please. Love you. I love you too. Ødegaard for that reason there. Saka's stats this season are just really poor. And I know he's on penalties, and that is big if he gets a pen. But I prefer Ødegaard. Stats and eye test, a bit of everything, really. I've got hope for Trossard's beginner's luck, but now I'm doubting myself. If he was gonna start, then I'd definitely keep him. His data's really good when he starts, but I think he's gonna get very, very limited minutes. Good morning, Ryan. Should I play Almiron or Rodrigo? I'd play Rodrigo and I'd bench Almiron, but I think that's a pretty close one. Skrezzo has become... I don't know if that's how you pronounce your name. Are you the fantastic gentleman that created my banner? I'm sure that's... Wait, let me check. Is that you? God, I DM people too often. Why can I not find a simple DM? Yeah, it is you, I think, isn't it? Let me know if it's you. I want to show that off in a second because it's absolutely amazing header for my Twitter. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Yes, it is you. Cool. Whilst you're here then, I'll thank you because it's absolutely amazing. Where is... What am I doing? Here. Look how amazing this header is. It's going to be zoomed out for you. You can see it like that. How good does that look? So much better than anything I can do graphic design-wise. So thank you for becoming a member. Not only becoming a member, but thank you for also creating a cracking banner for me. It looks really, really good. I'm going to try and get the same on YouTube as well. So you'll see it on YouTube soon, hopefully. Right, let's not scroll through Twitter. Let's go back here. Answer your questions. Oh, wow. That was new. How long we got? We've got 27 minutes until the deadline, so definitely start wrapping up those things. I DM people too often, you rascal. I can't keep all the ladies out of my DMs, Marcus. They're just flooding with people. Rosh, your smile looks precious and pure. What a lovely compliment. I appreciate that my smile looks precious and pure. I got told the other day that I look like I've always done something wrong. I look like I'm always guilty of something. I've got a bit of a guilty smile, apparently. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Cancelo or White? I would probably... Oh, if Cancelo starts, he's a better option, isn't he? I think there's a small chance Cancelo does start. So I would be tempted by Cancelo. I don't know. It's up to you. If you think Cancelo will start, definitely Cancelo. If you're unsure and you don't want to risk a cameo, because he probably will come on, maybe just start Ben White. We are 69, so hey, we are 69 subscribers away from 60,000. Jay says, bit of advice, please, buddy. 1.9 million in the bank, one free transfer, a back four of Trippier, Castagna, Gabriel. Transfer Andreas for Matoma and drop Castagna. I think you're fine playing Castagna. I may still well play him. But yeah, Andreas for Matoma is fine. My issue with Andreas to Matoma is that Andreas has a really nice fixture in 25, and we still don't know if Brighton will blank in 25 or not. So I don't dislike Andreas to Matoma, but I also don't think there's an issue with keeping Andreas and starting Castagna. But yeah, I am jealous of anyone that gets Matoma in the near future. I think he is a really good asset. Same with Solly March as well. If you had Martial this week, would you bench him or start him? No, I have Andreas first bench, so he would start come on if Martial doesn't play. I would be tempted to just start Andreas and bench Martial. But there are some really nice Martial replacements. So if you just want to take the move, make the move this week, Nketiah, Gnonto, they're probably my main two. Tony, probably the top three options. It depends on your strategy and how aggressive you want to be and whether you want to roll and wait for more info, if you want to just attack the weeks in front of you. There are different ways to play FPL and there's no right or wrong. It really depends on what you want to do with your team. Eamon has become a Rap Tier 2 member. Thank you very much. Welcome to the family. Any Liverpool or Chelsea leaks yet? I don't think so. Let me have another little check. Don't think so. Sam. No, I haven't seen anything yet. Sorry, chat back. FPL is a bit like blokes and women. We've got no idea what we're doing. Sometimes we get lucky. I've got no idea what I'm doing with either. Imagine being completely incompetent with both. That's always fun. God, my shoulder's stiff. Kepa or Ward? I think it was largely agreed that Kepa's probably the slightly better option because he makes more saves and we could see it being a 0-0 between Liverpool and Chelsea. So I think just about Kepa, but I do still think there's justification to start Ward. Better clean sheet odds, and he's also playing at home are two things that are in Ward's favour. I think both will concede, to be honest. Mitrovic to Tony. Yeah, I don't mind that for free. I'm not sure about that for a hit, but I like it for free. Hi, Raptor. Sorry for the capitals. How do we become a Rap Tier 2 or Rap Tier 1 member, please? You click the link in the description, or you click the little... I think, is that the only way? I don't actually know. I just know what happens when it pops up. There's a link in the description which says if you want to become a member, click here. Or there's the join button next to the subscribe button. So once you've hit the subscribe button, you can then click the join button. You can become a member that way. Gross or Andreas? I'd start Andreas because there's still a chance he's on pens. Do you think KDB is a good captain? I think he is, but I still prefer Haaland. Raptor is the bald wizard I need in my life. Thank you. I'm gonna choose to take that as a compliment, being called a bald wizard. Oh dear, these chats get weird, don't they? Erdegaard or Matoma? I think Erdegaard probably, but I do really like Matoma as well. John Stone's in for a -4 and bench Luke Shaw. I don't mind that long term, but it depends on the rest of your team. It's difficult to say just by looking at that. But yeah, John Stones is probably the best City defender to own. Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes is one that I've not really spoken about a lot, and it's just because of probably pure jealousy that I can't get him into my team. I think if you're in a position where you have... The best position for getting Bruno Fernandes into your team is if you have Haaland, De Bruyne, and Salah, because I think you can just go Salah to De Bruyne and go Salah to Bruno and just be happy with that. But I think in my position, the only way I can get Bruno is for De Bruyne. So if I do De Bruyne to Bruno, then for Game Week 23, I'd probably want De Bruyne back. So I'm going to have to do Bruno back to De Bruyne. So it's basically 2 transfers, maybe a hit involved in that, to get Bruno and then to take him back out again. And whilst I do think Bruno's a really great option for the double, I'm not sure how I feel about that at the moment. Ross, could you put up the Brighton stats again, please? There you go. Triceratops or pterodactyl? I'm going to go Triceratops. White or Shaw? So, again, I think we've all agreed that White is the better option, but there is a world in which Manchester United could win this and keep a clean sheet. So don't be shocked if Shaw does keep a clean sheet. But I think on paper, especially with the Casemiro suspension, we're sticking with Ben White being a better option than Luke Shaw. Is there any early team news? Still no early team news yet, but if we get any, I'll let you know about it. I don't know who are we waiting for. I think we're probably waiting for... Is it just Darwin? Maybe Mason Mount, Cucurella? What team news do you want? And I'll try and keep an eye out for it. Frosty, I love how you've gone from being the most pessimistic Arsenal fan to the most optimistic one. What a change. Yeah, so people want Darwin, Mount, and yeah, Cucurella news. Okay, so Darwin and Mount in the main 2. I'll keep my eye out for it. I'll keep my eye out for it. We are 49 subscribers now away from 60,000. And then I'll shut up. Imagine how joyful that will be when I just stop talking about it. I pray my boy Darwin starts. I'm very jealous of people that own Darwin. I miss him already. Me and Darwin had a very affectionate relationship. It was love-hate, actually. It was a love-hate relationship, but mainly love. And I'm very upset that I now no longer have Darwin in my team. Good evening, Ross. Hope you're well. Any big news today? Been at work all day. I don't think so, Will. It's been a fairly uneventful one. Still enjoyable for me anyway. Hopefully for you guys as well. But yeah, fairly uneventful deadline stream. I haven't seen any big news yet. Just been sort of discussing those key decisions. Reece James. I don't think Reece James is anywhere close to the starting 11, is he? And he probably won't be on the bench. If he's on the bench, that's exciting. I think it will be game week 22 before we see James involved. If that could be even game week 23. Start Kepa or Ward. Again, I think we agreed as a chat that Kepa just about. Ross, I'm stupid. I missed last deadline, so I still have Darwin, Mount, Salah, and Mount twice. What do? I have 2 transfers and willing to take hits. I think you can keep Salah and Darwin. Mount, again, could be fine for this fixture, but I think long-term you probably don't necessarily want him. So like Mount to Erdegaard, Mount to Matoma, Mount to Rodrigo. If you can get from Mount to De Bruyne, that could be, not Mount to De Bruyne, Mount to Bruno. But again, you don't necessarily need to do that this week. So maybe Mason Mount down to a cheaper asset, roll the second free transfer, and then have 2 free transfers next week might be nice. Reece James is training but not ready. Yeah, so I don't think Reece James will be involved in the team, but it's good to know that he's close. Even just from a footballing point of view, he's so good. I hope he can stay fit. Ross, would you start Mahrez or Ødegaard? I wouldn't be benching either of those in any world. They are two of the best assets to own at the moment. So I wouldn't be benching either of those two. What's your reason for Mitrovic over Andreas? He's just got significantly better data. If I find out that Andreas is on penalties, it makes him a completely different asset to own. I'd start him a lot more, and I would sell Mitrovic. But for this week, we still don't know. It's difficult to assume if there's going to be a penalty. And if we're assuming that there's not, Mitrovic does have the better data. So that's why I've got Mitro over Andreas. Which City defender would you bring in? I think it's John Stones or no one for me. I don't mind Ake, but I think John Stones is the one. You could go for Edison if you want to, but I don't think he's a fantastic asset. Bench Martinelli or Matoma? I'm starting Ødegaard. Bench Martinelli or Matoma? I'm starting Ødegaard. I would probably Martinelli, just. But again, I don't really feel comfortable benching Martinelli or Matoma. But yeah, probably Martinelli. Ross, is Botman better to start over Shaw? Yeah, I would start Botman over Shaw. For sure. I think the Newcastle defence are better and they've got a better fixture as well. Who are the priorities to get for the next few games? It depends. Like, game week 22 could be a double for Man United and Leeds. So probably the likes of Rodrigo, Bruno Fernandes, etc. and Gnonto. But then game week 23, Arsenal and Man City double. So you're probably looking at the likes of, obviously, Ødegaard, any City assets you want to bring in, maybe Ben White. But then in game week 25, 4 teams will blank. There could be a double. So it's difficult. It depends on your strategy. It depends on your current team. But I think a lot of the midfield assets look really nice at the moment. So if you're not happy with your midfield, I'd be probably targeting some of the midfielders that I just mentioned there. Differential of the week, bar Matoma, top 3 City men. Differential of the week. I'm going to say Rodrigo. I think he'll do well against Brentford, and then potentially you might see loads of people bring him in. Or Gnonto. I do think Leeds look pretty decent at the moment, but so do Brentford. I'm very interested to see how that game goes, because you've got 2 teams that at the moment look pretty decent, look like they can score goals. I don't know if it'll be tight. I don't know if there'll be tons of goals in that, but I'm very jealous of people that have assets in that game. $21 subscribers, guys. 21 until 60,000. All I'm saying, 21. There's 3,300 people here. 21 subscribers. Tons of Tony goals. I do think Tony will score. Again, very jealous of people that own Tony. Would you start Cancelo or Shaw? I'd probably start Cancelo and hope that Pep starts him and doesn't bring him off before 60 minutes. Would you consider Kane to Darwin if team news came out that Darwin was starting? No, I wouldn't consider that. I think Kane's probably a slightly better option. But I am still jealous of Darwin owners. I do love Darwin, and I do think he will come good soon. And this is a game that he could perform well in. Would you consider captain KDB over Haaland? I would consider it, but for me, my justification for this is if you think Haaland will play limited minutes, then it makes De Bruyne probably a slightly worse option. And if you don't think Haaland will play limited minutes, then I guess if KDB's involved in the goals, probably Haaland will be as well. So I guess whichever way I frame it, I just look at it and think I think probably that Haaland's a better option than KDB. FPL Focal just messaged that he had a super chat and someone asked him whether he prefers FPL Raptor or FPL Harry. He better have answered FPL Raptor, that's all I'm saying. So much conflict of interest in your squad. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? It's not looking great. I've got Mitrovic and Kane up against each other. I've got Shaw, Rashford, Martinelli, Wyatt. But I think a lot of people probably are looking in a very similar position with their squads. Start Martial or Andreas? Probably Andreas, to be honest. Probably Andreas. I'm really not feeling very hopeful as a Man United fan. And Martial might not even start anyway. Are you rolling the transfer? Yes, I think so. My only decision is whether I want to start Castagna or Shaw. At the moment, I'm starting Shaw, but Castagna does look like a nice option too. I can make Mitrovic to Darwin, hold or press the trigger. Oh, that's a tough one. We don't know if Darwin's starting yet, do we? And I think Mitrovic is fine to keep. I love Darwin, but I think I would probably keep Mitrovic as the sensible recommendation there. Oh, sorry. Oh, God. We've got 10 minutes till the deadline, so make sure you lock those teams in. Make sure you get those teams locked. Start Shaw or Cancelo. I still think I would start Cancelo and just hope that Pep starts him. But just bear in mind that you could get a 1-point cameo. But I don't think Luke Shaw will probably get many more points than 1 anyway. So you'll probably be fine either way. In other words, I don't think either are great. But I just think Rico Lewis looked knackered by the end of that Spurs game. So I think there's a reasonable chance that Cancelo gets the nod here. Especially in a game where you don't think anyway that City will be tested too much. That isn't a diss on Wolves, by the way. I just think that it's a game where you would expect City to kind of dominate the ball. Would you bring Raya in for Kepa? I do think that Raya's probably been the best keeper this season for value, but I'd probably just keep Kepa. I personally don't think Martinelli's minutes are going to be too much of a worry at the moment. I do think he could get a sub around 70 to 75. I don't think that Martinelli will be benched from the start, at least over the next few. But yeah, it is a slight concern, especially for game week 23 when they've got the double. Are we now confident that he starts both games in the double ahead of Trossard and ahead of Smith Rowe? Maybe not. So I guess I'm starting to think that maybe the play for me is do Martinelli to Ødegaard. Yay, we hit 60,000. That's it. I'm going to shut up now. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Hopefully you stay subscribed, and I appreciate you very much for doing so. Thank you very much. 13 days until the next deadline. What a nasty thought. Yeah, it's a bit of a break, isn't it? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm cold now. I stripped off, and now I'm freezing. Mount or Andreas? Probably Andreas, and hope that he's on pens and hope that Fulham get a pen. Raptor, Shaw or White, Mitrovic or Almiron? White and Mitrovic. Would you start Zaha or Andreas? Already got Mitrovic. Probably Andreas. Probably Andreas. Listen, Newcastle was so good defensively, and Zaha sometimes is on pens, but isn't even that great at taking pens. Andreas could be on. I would probably start Andreas, but I don't really like the thought of either that much. You have got just over 7 minutes until the deadline. Make sure you get those teams locked in. I don't know whether I want to start Shaw or Castagna. I'm still very unsure on that decision. Not sure at all. "13 days until another live stream." Yeah, 2 weeks without a Raptor live stream. Nah, you'll enjoy the break. You guys see my face far too often. I do expect to just rock up to a deadline stream one day and everyone's got sick and tired of listening to me ramble on for hours, but it's not happened yet. Have we got any team news? Still no team news as far as I can tell. No, it doesn't look like we're going to get team news, unfortunately, which is a bit annoying for Darwin owners, but I think I would probably keep him. He looked like he had a good chance of starting, so... Shaw or Estepinian? Estepinian. Play Rashford or Erdegaard. Almiron or Leon Bailey? Leon Bailey. Spurs defence is so poor. Arsenal defence is so good. Would you not start Andreas over Rashford? The Spurs defence isn't as bad as people are making out. They're actually the 5th best defence in the league this season. And over the last 6, they're like 8th. So I'm not saying Spurs are a good defence. And they do concede goals. But they're not as bad as the data's suggesting they're not as bad as they potentially look on paper. So I don't think Spurs are like a really terrible defence. And I think Rashford's data is significantly better than Andreas. So I understand that justification, Mark. Yeah, if you want to start Andreas ahead of Rashford, go for it. But for me, I still think Rashford's a slightly better option. And I do think that Arsenal are susceptible to being got out on the counter-attack. I don't know if you remember the game against Brighton, but they got done a few times from the left by Matoma on the break. And I think that's exactly where Rashford could thrive. So I still think there's a chance that Rashford gets something. It's a week where you can't get points from all of your players if your team looks a bit like mine. Like, if your team looks like mine and you've got White, Martinelli, Shaw, Rashford, then there we go. My chat's got viciously aired. Well, I saw that one, but I didn't see any other ones. So you should have put it in there, unfortunately. I'm not doing that on purpose. Twitter rumours suggesting Nunes and Trent don't start. Let me have a look. Okay. Do I want to show you that? That's weird because it's not his own team news. Do you know what? I'm going to show you it anyway and you can make your own decision on it. So Team News and Ticks, who gets his own stuff usually, has just tweeted, Twitter rumours suggesting Nunes and Trent don't start. But that's weird because, like I said, he usually gets his own news and he'll usually just say Trent and Nunes don't start. So it means he doesn't have the team news. Which, again, is strange. Yeah, I agree, Frosty. I think he's put that tweet there to try and continue to gain followers, but he doesn't actually have the info. So, I mean, if you want to move based on that, then go for it. I wouldn't necessarily trust this completely because if he knew for a fact, he would say Nunes and Trent don't start. So that tells me that he's not actually that sure. Cancelo or Andreas? I would probably start... I'd probably start Andreas, to be fair. Unless you think Cancelo will start, he's a decent option. But Andreas against Tottenham could get something, for sure. So I think if it's between Andreas and the defender, a lot of the time I'd probably suggest Andreas. Almiron versus Andreas. I'd start Almiron for me. Can you stop saying for sure? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can stop saying that for sure. Kepa or Ward? We agreed Kepa. Shaw or White? We agreed White. Shaw or Andreas? I said Andreas. What would I do with Darwin Nunes? I'd probably sell him for Tony on Yonto, but it looks like he'll be back very soon, and I do still think he's a fantastic option when he's back. But I don't know. It's up to you how much you want to trust these kind of rumours. My voice just broke terribly. F1 drivers. Wow, that is probably the worst voice break I've ever had. F1 drivers used to say it non-stop and it was infuriating. Wait, you've been watching F1 stuff. I have been watching F1 stuff. Maybe I've picked it up from there. Right. I'd lock in your teams now. Voice break. Ignore the voice break. Let's just move on from that and just move towards the deadline. No, don't laugh at me, chat. You're such bullies. Right, the deadline is here. You've probably got like 1 second by the time of seeing this. Play 4 out of Rashford, Almiron, Erdegaard, Martinelli, KDB. I would probably bench Almiron out of all of those options, James. Why is everyone screaming top off as soon as the deadline comes? The deadline is now here. By the time you hear my voice, the deadline will be done. And I feel like that was relatively stress-free. Oh, I didn't even think about Castagna. Okay, I've ended up starting Luke Shaw. I completely forgot that I had my own decisions to make. Do you know what? That's too funny. I've screenshotted that because it cracks me up. FPL Focal and FPL Harry raid, apparently. That's always fun. Don't leave. If you're still here, don't leave. I continue this stream on for at least another kind of half an hour to an hour. And yeah, I know I am really cold. I might have to put more clothing on. Hair reveal. Nah, you can't see my luscious locks. Top stream again, mate. Keep it going. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. He takes his top off after half an hour. I can neither confirm nor deny. At least match your t-shirt to your skin tone. It's pale at the moment, unfortunately. Oh, I really don't like having Castagna on the bench. I love Castagna. Make some dinosaur noises now, please. I need to practice my dinosaur noises. Noises? Oh, it's one of those days. The word I was looking for there was days. It's one of those days where I just can't speak. Sophie Lopez has become a Rap Tier 2 member. Thank you very much, Sophie. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for confirming a Chelsea clean sheet, mate. Yeah, it probably is going to happen. I've got the goalkeeper position wrong every single week. Every single week I've benched a clean sheet. I benched a Kepa clean sheet, 9-pointer. I benched an 8-pointer from Edison. I benched a 10-pointer from Kepa. It's 30 points in 4 weeks I've benched with my goalkeeper. It's 11 a.m. and I've already had crisps and an ice cream. It's what happens when you're bald, Marcus, and you shave your head. You're just absolutely loose. Unhinged. Unhinged is my new favourite word, by the way. What a word. I'm really hungry. I didn't have any breakfast, chat. There was a rookie mistake. My stomach is just slowly eating itself. Is the stream going to go crazy? It's just warming into it, yeah. In the next 5 minutes, I'm sure something will happen. It always does. How do you even eat crisps with ice cream? I assume Marcus didn't scoop the... Oh, maybe. Is there any ice cream and crisps combo where you could scoop the ice cream with the crisp? Yellen, are you still watching? If Yelena's here, she'll know. She does weird stuff with that with food. She'll know some crisp and ice cream combos. Chest hair reveal. I'm not going to reveal my chest hair. I did Martial to Nyonto. I'm scared. Nyonto. Mrs. FPLB asks, What pizza did you have last week? What pizza did I have last week? It was pepperoni passion or whatever it's called. Is that what it's called? Did I just make that up? Pepperoni passion from Domino's. It was nice. It was a bit meaty. And I say that because I haven't eaten meat properly for 3 years. So, yeah, I'm not used to all that. I'm not used to all that meat in my mouth. It was too much meat in my mouth, I think is what I'll go with here. Sounds like a great video to start off your personal YouTube channel. I can't wait to start my personal YouTube channel. It's going to be absolute chaos over there. Fries in a milkshake is a winner. Absolutely is. It absolutely is. McDonald's, please don't leave the stream when you hear this. McDonald's fries in a McDonald's banana milkshake. Do you know what I did once as well? It was filthy, but I enjoyed it. McDonald's banana milkshake, McDonald's chicken nuggets. Dip the chicken nugget into the milkshake. It was nice. I know. I hate myself as much as you guys probably hate me now, but it was good. Wait, is Raptor a vegan? No, I was pescatarian, which means I only eat fish, don't eat meat for 3 years, and I recently started eating meat again. So, yeah, I'm a full-blown carnivore now. Do I start for sure or sure for sure? I'm going to copy paste that because that's the best question I've ever seen. There you go, chat. This is the question that I just read. That made me laugh. Oh, out of context Raptor. Someone should start an out of context Raptor where they talk about different things from the stream. You undid 3 buttons last week. Now remove until you get to your stomach. I've not even got buttons on the t-shirt. That's not going to be possible. The shirt. I don't know what I'm saying. Stop calling me sus. I'm not sus at all. 60k, thank you. Yes, we did hit 60k. Which is exciting. 60k is a big milestone. I feel like every 10,000 is a really big milestone. That means we are 60% of the way to the big one. The big 100k. That's too far. It's all fun and games when we joke about taking your top off, but chicken nuggets in a milkshake, there's a line and you just crossed it. Don't criticize chicken nuggets in a milkshake until you've tried chicken nuggets in a milkshake. Just don't criticize it. People are saying they're unsubscribing because of the McDonald's taste. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When is the deadline? Marcus, I don't know how to tell you this, my friend, but you have missed the deadline by 6 minutes. The slug comment from last year lives in my head rent-free. It was so funny. Do you ever oil up your head and pretend you're a slug? I still don't really fully understand the context of why if I had oil on my head, I would be a slug. I think they meant, do I like oil up my body and slide around like a slug? Which is even funnier, but yeah, what a comment that was. If you're new to my stream, someone asked me that comment on a stream a few months ago. Do I ever oil up my head and pretend I'm a slug? Unhinged carnivore. I am an unhinged carnivore at the moment. You know, God, this is going to sound really bad. When you haven't had meat in 3 years and then you get meat in your mouth, it's wonderful. You become a completely unhinged carnivore. Full-time meat eater, part-time dinosaur. Yes. How many Tinder... I lost that comment. How many... don't know. I'm sure it was about... How many likes did it say? How many Tinder matches this week? That's far too many to count. There have actually been quite a few. I don't know. 12? 15? Something like that. I can't be bothered with it, though, to be fair. I love my chat too much. There's no place left in my heart when I've got so much love for the chat. Do you know what? I've got no time for anyone else. What did you do? I woke up late to your stream. This is it. I just didn't do anything, basically. 60k celebratory milkshake and fries for all. I really fancy... I might... Shall I go get a McDonald's milkshake and some chicken nuggets and bring them back? And we'll do like an ASMR McDonald's stream. God, I'm so far behind on the chat. Oh, well. I wish I had a lecturer who was a YouTuber. Your students must be really bonding with you well. Yeah, I have the best relationship with my students. That sounds wrong. You know what I mean? We get on really well. I'm very, very friendly. As far as lecturers go, I've got a very relaxed teaching style. Like I say, it's basically like I am on stream, but minus any of the rude jokes is kind of what I'm like as a lecturer. Thank you, Rodney. Rodney says, I dip my nuggets into my milkshake. Lovely. Thanks, Rodney. You're a handsome bald man. Thank you. I don't know why people have to add the word bald. Why don't you just say, Ross, you're a handsome man? Why do we have to add the word bald in? But thank you, Ahmed. I appreciate that. Marcus just said my daughter's listening to this. I'm so sorry in advance for whatever I've said that is not acceptable. Ross, I'm hearing wedding bells. When is it? Surely 2023. Who? I'd need to have a girlfriend to get married. Jesus. OnlyFans at 100k? Potentially. We'll see. Cheese and banana sandwich. You'll never look back. Now, listen, Mark. I am someone that doesn't like to judge other people for their preferences in everything. Not only food, but cheese and banana feels like something which isn't acceptable. Maybe I'll try it. What kind of cheese? What kind of cheese? Meat in mouth, gobble, gobble. Oh, goodness. Oh, I was going to read something else and I've lost it now. Oh, well. Why does my voice keep breaking? Can we get a Tinder channel? Would you guys subscribe to my Tinder channel? I feel like that'd be fun. Yeah, what a weirdo. Apparently, Yelena eats cheese and watermelon together in a salad. Is that weird? Or am I the weird one for thinking that's weird? Also, she just puts pomegranate on everything. Pomegranate on nachos, pomegranate in the salad. These are some weird food preferences. Thank you for hiding that message, Marcus. Oh my God. What a funny comment to receive. I kind of want to read it out loud, but at the same time, I'll read it out loud. I'm not going to answer this question. Someone just commented, "How big is your willy?" What, like that's stepping over the line of what is acceptable. But I'll allow it because you've chosen a fairly soft word rather than anything too rude. Back to the mozzarella and watermelon situation, and mozzarella and what was the other one? What was the other cheese and banana? Mozzarella and banana and mozzarella and watermelon are foods that just shouldn't be mixing. Oh, goodness. Feta and watermelon bangs. What on earth? Very normal in the Middle East. Does she put pomegranate on Raptor? No, she doesn't put pomegranate on Raptor. When I say everything, I mean several pieces of food. Pomegranate in a salad is top tier. Okay. All right. I'll allow the pomegranate one then. I'm not allowing the mozzarella and watermelon. Doesn't seem different to the cheese and pineapple sticks you get at primary school. I don't think I have read cheese and pineapple sticks at primary school, Rhiannon. I don't think. The bald tofu whopper. Are you calling me the bald tofu whopper? Fuck it. Swear. I swore. I'm really sorry. I don't swear on stream. Potty mouth. Potty mouth. Apologies. Cut that out. Beep it out. The bald tofu whopper. Interesting. Twitter rumours suggesting Darwin and Trent are not in the starting 11. It is Twitter, though. Yeah, we saw that. We did see that. This stream is absolute jokes. Congrats on 60k. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, 60k. Like I said, big milestone. Big milestone to hit. The goal is by the end of 2023 to hit 100,000. I'd love to go into 2024 with 100,000. The bolt. I know, Yelena. Please don't call me that from now on. The bald tofu whopper. Ross, Yelena said you guys hooked up once, but you keep denying it. Yelena definitely didn't say that because that didn't happen. It happened 5 times. No, I'm joking. It didn't. It did not happen. Stop trying to create rumors. Watermelon and cow's feta, sweet and salty. You've actually put sweat and salty. Watermelon and cow's feta, sweaty and salty. That sounds yummy. I love it. Have you ever taken hair pills to regrow your hair? No, Goric. I don't want to. I like being the bald tofu whopper. We need a chicken selects mukbang from me. I love chicken selects. Don't talk to me about chicken selects. Don't even talk to me about chicken selects. This is just a food stream. I'm so hungry. Oh, God, this is getting out of control. He keeps telling people I don't cover him in pomegranate as well. No comment. I feel like that'd be a terrible fruit to be covered in. That would make such a mess. Any tattoos, Ross? What do you think, chat? Chat, do we think I have any tattoos? And if so, what of and where? But be careful. Demonetized. I've almost definitely been demonetized on this stream. There's been all sorts going on. FPL Love Island. Can you imagine an FPL Love Island? Jesus. I've never watched it before, to be fair. So I don't really understand the premise and what goes on. Nothing against people that do watch Love Island, but it's my worst nightmare of what I would like to watch. What have I tuned into this morning? Sexual innuendos galore and raptor cursing. This should come with a parent's advisory warning. I know, I'm sorry. Out of control. I need to be tamed. Chicken selects suck. Frosty, you're one more comment like that away from being banned. No tats, no tats, no tats, no tats. Not a single person has said a tat. Someone said they think I have a tattoo of a camel on my toe. A butterfly on his, I'll say bottom instead. You have a tattoo of Yelena on your chest. Is that why I don't want to show my chest? Just a picture of her face. Okay. A dragon on your belly button. I don't have it. Can you even get your belly button tattooed? A dragon on your belly. I now want to get a tattoo of a dragon on my belly button. Oh, goodness me. No tattoos. You're a clean-cut kind of guy. That is correct. I do not have any tattoos. However, I said this to someone the other day. I was chatting to some of my friends, and they said that they think I am the sort of person that would have tattoos. So there we go. I do not have any. I just don't think I like anyone or anything enough to want it on my body permanently. Maybe if I get to 100,000 subscribers, I'll get a little raptor tattoo somewhere. Oh, sorry. I didn't see that, Yelena. I didn't see that message. Some people are crossing the line with the messages, that's all I'll say. I'd pay to see you and Let's Talk FPL in a pool together on FPL Love Island. Me and Andy got on really well, Andy and I got on really well at the FCAs, but we were very drunk, to be fair. But yeah, Andy's a top guy. I would pay to see Andy on a stream with me right now. I'd love to see any other FPL YouTuber. There's a couple that would be fine with him being on this kind of stream. Oh. Ross, considering this is my third FPL season, what's your opinion on people in mini leagues accusing me of cheating for watching FPL content creators? Sorry, I need to compose myself because that's an actual question that needs answering. I don't think it's cheating watching FPL content creators. It's the same as saying it's cheating by looking at statistics. If you're copying content creators and your team's like very, very similar, then you could argue that's cheating. I guess your mini leagues need to set out the rules for you of what's cheating and what's acceptable. If they've not set out any rules, then that's definitely not cheating. But if, for example, I know that the Sidemen have a mini league of FPL and they're not supposed to ask for any outside advice. So like they've set rules within their league They can't get FPL advice, etc. So I feel like you should set your boundaries in your league, basically. Right, some of these comments, you need to tone it down a little bit because they're outrageous and I can't even read them out. Where did the name Raptor come from? Toronto Raptors. I'm a Toronto Raptors fan, so there we go. It's as simple as that. Everyone thinks it comes from Jurassic Park, but no. Who's the GOAT, Ronaldo or Messi? Messi. Why do British people pronounce the A as an O, watermelon, instead of plain and simple? I don't know how I would pronounce the A. Watermelon? Are you sound like wah? We don't have that vowel sound in our vocabulary. Wah. It would be war. Water. Water. If you're from Essex, it's water. Ross, why do you wear a bald cap during your streams? I just don't want to show you my long, luscious hair because it's just like, it would make other people feel quite jealous. I've got like a long ponytail. Yeah, bottle of water. I am slightly more well-spoken than most people from Essex. Does your Essex accent ever come out? Yeah, when I've spent a lot of time at home. Yeah, bottle of water is, if you ever ask someone from Essex to say bottle of water, it's quite fun. Because they'll miss out all the T's. And it just becomes bottle water. And yeah. There we go. My entire family have got quite strong Essex accents, but I've deviated from that. Ross, you look like that guy from Breaking Bad. Have you realised that, or am I not okay? A lot of people say that. I'll take it. I think Bryan Cranston's beautiful, so that means I am as well. Ross's secret identity is Mark Cucurella. Yeah, that's exactly the same hair. My wife's come from Aldershot, and I'm still shocked how common she is. Yeah, I'm trying to think what an Aldershot accent. That's not a very common accent. Everyone thinks I'm like a Cockney. When I went to Ireland, everyone said I sound like a Cockney. I was like, I definitely don't. I think if you're not from England, kind of south, north are the two easiest to distinguish. Do you watch anime? I don't, unfortunately, but it is something that I'd like to watch more because so many people are into it, but I've just never really got into it. I've started watching F1 a lot, so I'm into the 4th season of Drive to Survive, and I'm going to start trying to do some of my own research and find out more about the sport because it's really exciting. So F1's taken up all of my spare time at the moment. Who's Yelena? Just a nobody. No one cares about her. She's an FPL YouTuber. If you type in Yelena FPL on YouTube or on Twitter, she will come up. Frosty Yelena is an imaginary girl Ross pretends is his girlfriend. Oh, basically, yeah. That's basically it. She doesn't exist. It's my burner account, and I pretend I Photoshop a picture of a pretty blonde girl, so that it makes me look. Stop laughing. You stop laughing. You stop laughing. Why should I stop laughing? When he, oh, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not getting married anytime soon. I would first need to find a girlfriend. I would then need to be with said girlfriend for an extended period of time. I'd then need to engage to that person. Then I would need to marry that person. We are talking probably at least 6 or 7 years. Probably longer. Make a trip to Turkey. Get the hair transplant done. I don't want to. Stop trying to make me grow hair. I'm happy with my head and my hair. Thank you. Nice shirt, mate. Thank you. You know what the stream wants you to do with it. No. Are you going to a game this week? No, I'm not. Why do you sound so smug? Sorry? That's my voice. Why do you sound... Kevin Magnussen. Oh, I do love Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen's beautiful. I think it's just, it comes with, I feel like if you're in F1, you just have to be like a 10 out of 10 for looks. It's obviously for like sponsorships and stuff like that. But why is every F1 driver just ridiculously good looking? I don't understand why. I feel like it must be part and parcel of it all. Would you not stop shaving your head until you reach 100,000 subscribers? No, I will continue to shave my head. Your laugh is hilarious. I hate my laugh. I was saying this to Yelena the other day. I hate my laugh. I also hate my face when I laugh. I just think the entire thing is not very nice when I laugh. When will we get a mini raptor? Oh, probably not for a while, if ever. I've got to find someone that wants to have a mini raptor with me first. It's not easy. Pretty blonde. Ross' feelings are clear. Of course she's a pretty blonde. That's kind of an objective statement. You're hot property, Ross. Thanks. Hot property, damn. Yelena is an inflated toy who Ross sleeps with in his bed. There you go. The secret's out. Find the right person and lock it in, says Mrs. FPLB, who is holding a gun to my head as I type this. I can't believe 1,500 people are watching this. What do you mean, Clive? Are you saying that you don't think that many people should? Or are you saying that you think there should be more? Last week, there were like over 2,500 people watching me talk absolute nonsense. Why do you only eat leaves? Leaves? I don't. I don't mind a leaf, but I don't only eat leaves. What's FPL Harry saying? Your top 3 movies of all time? That's a great question that I can never answer. What do we? Let me know what yours are, chat. Top 3 movies of all time. I think your laugh is cute. You look cute when you laugh. Thank you. That's good. I'll take cute. Cute works. I look like Carlos Sainz. If you look like Carlos Sainz, then you are laughing. Another good-looking man. I can't believe Yelena allows you to mug her off like this in front of thousands of people. I never mug her off. I don't think I've ever said a bad word about her. Not that she's in control of my behavior anyway. If I want to mug her off, I mug her off. But yeah, I don't think I do. Any team news? We'll get it in 4 minutes. Apparently, Darwin and Trent don't start is the Twitter rumours, but I don't know if I would believe that necessarily. Oh, here we go. We're getting team news coming through. 2 seconds. Let me move this over here, and I'll get back to answering some questions. There you go. Trent, Darwin, Mudryk, or whatever you want to call him. Mudryk, and Aspie are all benched. Let me move that back over there. Then we'll get the actual team in a few minutes. Movies are boring, kind of thing someone who eats chicken selects would watch. Or just movies in general. To be fair, I mainly watch series. I don't watch a lot of movies. Would you read Harry's new book when you reach 100k? I've not seen anything about this book apart from kind of the oscillating, you know, that bit that's just going around on like TikTok and stuff at the moment. So I've seen parts of it, but yeah, I could read out some of that book when we hit 100k, if everyone wants that. I don't think many people would. I like your dimples when you laugh and smile, Ross. You're lovely. I do have little dimples, not big ones. Do you ever imagine that the cork head of a badminton shuttlecock is almost the same as your under hat? I don't even know where to begin with that question. Shawshank Redemption's great. Shutter Island's great. FPL some. Similar taste in movies. So my 3 favourite movies are probably Interstellar, Inception. I'm such a Christopher Nolan fan. I'd probably go for something like The Prestige as the third. I know that all three of those are Christopher Nolan films. Anything by Christopher Nolan is ridiculous. So I'll go Interstellar, Inception, and The Prestige. But that third one's open to debate. That third one is open to debate. Excited for Oppenheimer. Very, very much so. Very much so. Who is your favourite Sidemen member? Mine is Harry. Yeah, I think Harry's most people's favourite, isn't he? I like the beta squad, though, as well. I think they're doing some really good stuff. I think they'll be challenging them very soon. Do you have a crush right now? Yes. It's you, Jimmy. You're my crush. I feel like I'm too old to have a crush. Can you have a crush when you're 25 years old? Or you can't have crushes at that age, can you? Ross, your FPL content is amazing, but this is absolutely hilarious. Just sat back relaxing with a smile. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate you. It's my favourite part of the stream as well. I'm so cold. I don't know why I took my jumper off. I felt hot at the time. It's pronounced same as oo in French, like Usman, same oo in Mudrik, like that. How old are you watching Sidemen? I don't regularly watch the Sidemen, but I don't think you don't have to be 12 to watch some of their videos. Some of them are aimed at 12-year-olds, but some of them are also quite entertaining. You're 25. Yep, I know. Yeah, I'm 25. Right, the team news will be out now. Let's have a look. All right, so Gakpo, Salah, Elliott, Keita, Thiago. So it's basically, it's the team that we thought it would be, but there's no Trent and there's no Darwin. But they're both in the squad. They're just on the bench. So that's the first thing. Then Chelsea. I think people wanted to know. Oh God, lag. Cucurella starts. Mason Mount starts. I think that one, obviously Kepa starts. I think that was it, right? Is that what people wanted to know? Oh, here we go. I thought you were 35. You look like you're in at least your 30s. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. I do look a little bit older, I understand that. Were you born in 1998 or 1997? I was born in 1997. March 29th, 1997 is my birthday. Is there going to be a deadline stream on my birthday? Can you imagine? Let me have a look at dates. Oh, I'm not going to have the fixtures, am I? I don't know. I'll have to look in a second. There might be a deadline stream close to my birthday. That'd be fun. My wife just put me on the spot about her 3 favourite films. I didn't know, and I'm now in the doghouse. Oh, no, Marcus. It's a difficult one, though, because it changes. And also, trying to narrow it down to 3 films is quite difficult. I'm actually too cold. 2 seconds. And I'm back. I was really boiling hot, and then now I'm freezing. When are you planning to wildcard? I think game week 33 looks like it could be good. If not 33, then maybe 29. But yeah, 33 at the moment. Saturday, the 1st of April is... Oh, no. There's a deadline stream on April 1st. Oh, that's going to be horrific. Oh, that's going to be so bad. Can you imagine the trolling in the chat? For what it's worth, this makes me sound like a really boring person. I don't mind pranks, but I find April Fools a bit annoying and boring. So I won't be pranking you at any point on April Fools. So you can tune into my deadline stream and know with confidence that I wouldn't give you any false information. But yeah, I know the chat are going to be terrible. You should pin your age on every stream from now on. I have to tell people my age constantly because they think I'm like middle-aged. Seriously though, some girls would probably dig that older look. Okay. I'll find a girl that digs the older look. Ross, love your streams. There is a side project around FPL I'm working on where I can reach out to you. Is it your mail or on your Twitter? If you give me an email, fplraptor@gmail.com. Drop me an email and I'll give it a read. I like that idea, Yelena. That's a good idea. Oh, the camera's gone. I don't know why I'm surprised, but the camera's gone. You need a woman, not a girl, says Mrs. FPLB. Yes, I would agree. Whatever way we word it. Batman chair, Lex Luthor head. You are a bit of a nerd, Ross. Don't abuse the Batman chair. The Batman chair is class. Yeah, I'm a bit of a nerd. If you, I've got a fantasy football YouTube channel. If you didn't realize I'm a nerd, then what have you been doing? Interstellar is the best film ever, and it's not even close. I would categorically confirm that Interstellar is my favorite film. I might watch Interstellar this evening. What a film. Did he hit 60K? I did hit 60K. We currently have 60,058. So we have 58 clear of it. Are you going to watch the Last of Us series, and have you played the game it's based on? So this is really frustrating. I was invited to the premiere of The Last of Us, and I couldn't go because I was teaching on that day, and it was in London. So that's really bloody annoying. But yes, I will probably watch the series. I've not played the game, but I don't know if that makes it better or worse. I don't think it's a huge issue. Let's try the camera again in 2 seconds. Hello from New Zealand. Hello, Will. Good to see you. How's the lecturing going? Have you managed to get FPL into many lectures? So this year, it's quite a strange one because I don't really talk about it on Twitter because everyone thinks that I'm just bragging on Twitter, which I'm not. I just find it very interesting. But I've been recognized by probably like 30 to 35 students, I would say, this year. In comparison to last year when it was like probably 10 people recognized me. So I think that the game is growing just ridiculously, and more people are playing it. So yes, I do get FPL into the lectures, and lots of people know me from the YouTube stuff. Also, a lot of celebrities are getting into FPL as well. A lot of big accounts and big celebrities and stuff are delving into FPL as well. I'm seeing a lot of people that like you might not expect playing FPL, which is cool. Yeah, it's that I'm kind of a big deal gif, isn't it? I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal. No, obviously not. I've got 60,000 subscribers. I'm not famous, but no, it's nice. How are you a lecturer at 25? I'm lecturing as part of my PhD, so it's like a scholarship basically. Because I can lecture, they pay for my PhD, and they also pay me to lecture as well. Celebrate your achievements. As a supporter of your channel, it makes me happy seeing you grow. Thank you, Soldier Boy. I appreciate you always being here. I saw you crying in Lidl. That wouldn't have been me. I don't shop in Lidl, but that was pretty funny. Are you a doctor, Ross? No, I will be a doctor at the end of my PhD. So in 2.5 to 3 years, yes, I'll be a doctor. I will be Dr. Dowsett, which is me, my name. Ross is a Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's kind of guy. All right, chat. Where do we think I shop? Where do we think I do my food shopping? If you've listened to all of my streams, I've mentioned this place twice. So if you watch my streams, you know exactly where I shop. But yeah, let me know where you'd think I do my grocery shopping. Too young to lecture, too old to be a YouTube football guru. You can't win, Ross. I know. I'm too old and too young in all the wrong places and things, and it's just a nightmare. Okay, here's the other question. Is it Aldi or Aldi? Because I've heard conflicting things and I never know what to call it. So lots of people think Aldi/Aldi. Tesco, Asda, Walmart. Only one person's correct so far. 2 people are correct. I shop at Sainsbury's. But that's just because it's the one that's easiest for me to get to. My favorite place to shop is Tesco. If I had all of them around me and I could choose, it would be Tesco. Elite store. What's your PhD in? Very quickly, because I know a lot of people already know this. It's in the role of virtual reality in elite football. So I'm taking VR, using it with injured players in a couple of Premier League clubs, and seeing if it improves the way that they rehabilitate. Aldi if you're up north, Aldi if you're down south. I'm in the Midlands. What do I call it? Yes, Lukey Boy remembers you met Ren and Loddy buying sugary cereals. I did see Ren and Loddy in Sainsbury's buying sugary cereals. There we go. I'm up north and we say Aldi. I thought it was Aldi, but then someone told me it's actually Aldi. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't shop there either way. But I do find it interesting that no one knows how to pronounce it. What do I have for lunch? That's the next question to discuss. I need some nice food. Definitely not mozzarella and watermelon, like some weirdo. I'm not going to have a cheese and banana sandwich, unfortunately. But if you want that, you go for it. I don't know. Hey, Raptor, big fan. Thank you, Aniket. I appreciate you being here. You better get chicken nuggets and dip them in a milkshake. Oh, I might do. Imagine if I put that on Twitter. I would get roasted if I put a video of me dipping my nuggets in a milkshake on Twitter. Twitter's not a safe space. This is my safe space. I feel like I might get judged, but I feel like we're all family here. My safe... you have to be careful what you post on Twitter because people will try and cancel you for anything. Are you going to change your channel to Dr. FPL in 2 years? No, I could do. FPL Raptor, and then in brackets, rather than Ross, I'll put like Dr. Ross. I'm going to be one of those people that at the end of the email just lists all of my degrees just to show off. BSc, MSc, PhD. Just loads of random letters. Twitter has hyenas. Twitter does. Twitter can be a very toxic place. Oh, Frosty. I love you so much. Frosty's just given a £20 super chat and just said McDonald's money. Do you know what? I will actually get a McDonald's now that you've done that. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. That's very, very kind. And just for that, I will be dipping my nuggets. And this isn't a euphemism, by the way, dipping my nuggets in a milkshake. I'm quite literally going to grab a chicken nugget and put it in a milkshake. Do you know what? You don't even have to dip. Do you know what you can do? You can eat a chicken nugget and then drink your milkshake and it does the same thing. If you don't feel comfortable dipping the nugget in the milkshake, you don't have to do that. But listen, I'm just going to stop. Just going to stop there. The man who has praised nuggets and milkshake cannot criticize a watermelon salad. Yelena, you don't understand. Like when I next see you, I'm going to buy you a milkshake and some nuggets and you'll see. I'll see. Twitter has been horrific this week. It really has. It really has. This has probably been the worst week I've been on Twitter in a while. People are just really angry for no reason. Keep up the good work, Ross. If you had to do a free hit, which team selection would you go with and why? For 22, I'll discuss that next week. For 21, I don't know. It'll be very, very difficult. Still can't believe you took the piss out of watermelon and cheese. It's brilliant, especially with wine on the beach. I'm not saying watermelon and cheese aren't great. I guess in my head, I'm thinking like cheese on watermelon, which I guess together they might be fine. Ignore me. I'm sure they're great. It looks like the chat is with Yelena and not with me, which is fine. You're always taking her side. You never defend me. Ross is secretly a Wolves fan. I'm not secretly a Wolves fan. So the PhD is in nuggets and milkshake interplay. Yeah. It's January, it's cold, and everyone is fed up. Spills over to social media. Yeah, that's true. What is your best pickup line, you bald beauty? What's my best pickup line? I wish I had one. Hi there, FPL Raptor. No, I don't know. I haven't got a pickup line. My pickup line is make an absolute idiot of myself, panic, get flustered, and if they find that endearing, then great. If not, then I've sort of lost the battle in the first few minutes. Who even likes watermelon is one of the most boring foods out. I like watermelon in the summer, maybe not in the winter, but in the summer, for sure. Best pickup line, fancy coming back to mine for some nuggies and milkshakes whilst we watch my FPL YouTube videos. Can you imagine me inviting a girl back here to dip nuggets in a milkshake? Again, this is not a euphemism. Literally dip nuggets in milkshake and then watch my YouTube videos. Especially as I don't have a living room set up. So if they want to do that, they've either got to sit with me at my desk or lay in bed with me. And I think either of those are just not acceptable for a first date. I'm just going to be single forever. That's so funny. Whew. Does anyone here want to come to mine and dip their nuggets in milkshake and watch my FPL YouTube videos together? If you do, hit me up. Tell them about Prep Panic. Right, this was fun. So the second time that I met Yelena, she was about 45 minutes late to start. So let's blame her for being late. We went to Prep, and there were like 3 lines in Prep, and it was really confusing. Like, no one knew what they were doing, including Yelena. No one had a clue. So, and I was quite warm as well. I had a coat on and a hat, and it was all very... And obviously, you're nervous meeting someone for only the second time, so I was a little bit flustered. Then I didn't know what line to go in. Then they gave me the wrong drink. They then gave her the wrong drink. It was just a nightmare. Then we couldn't find a bin. There was nowhere to stir. It was a bit of a mess, and I got a little bit overwhelmed by the situation. I think I was fine. I think I was really, really cool, but apparently I was quite flustered. So yeah, which has coined the phrase Prep Panic. And it's really sad. I think I'm cool. Chat, do you think I'm cool? Tell me that I'm cool. Do your students play FPL? Yeah, my students play FPL. Are you streaming till the lineups come out? The lineups already come out. I'm just streaming for the sake of it, really. I lost my phone number. Can I borrow yours? I like that. That's the one. I'm going to use that. One sec. I'm going to text someone now. Wait, that doesn't work. I've already got their number. I will use that. I'll let you know how that goes. I lost my phone number. Can I borrow yours? Big fan. Frosty, did you say I'm not cool? I can't believe I've just asked if I'm cool and Frosty just says, no, I can't lie to you. Fine. see if I care. Your average target frog. Hello, your average target frog says, I decided not to use my free transfer this week, and this is my team. Kepa, White, Shaw, Trippier, Erdegaard, Almiron, KDB, Rashford, Mitrovic, Haaland, Kane. Well, considering you haven't used your free transfer, that's like an impeccable team. I think you're probably just looking at Almiron to like Rodrigo next week, and your team will be in a really, really strong position. Ross is going to go on the pool tonight. Yeah, damn right. No, I'm definitely not. What I'll be doing this evening is watching Drive to Survive and probably making graphics for a new YouTube video. I know. Crazy life I live on a Saturday evening. Yelena is way cooler. She's so not. She's a nerd as well. She gets as flustered. She gets more flustered. Do you know what? It's her fault. I can't believe the amount of abuse I receive on this stream. What are your opinions on wildcarding in Game Week 22 or Game Week 23? I think there are better weeks to wildcard, personally, with all of the doubles and blanks we've got coming up. I can't believe I'm answering a serious FPL question at the moment. I'll leave that on the screen. There are loads of blanks and doubles coming up. I would probably hold off on the wildcard if you can. Sorry, I just need to send a message. 2 seconds. Tamosa says, I captained March, overall rank 240k. What are your thoughts? Captain in March is a brave one, but I like it. 240k is not bad, by the way. That's a really nice rank. Who has the high conversion rate, these chat up lines or Darwin? Probably Darwin, sadly. Are you a visual learner? What kind of learner are you? So I have like a semi-eidetic memory. It's not fully eidetic, but I can look at, basically I can look at a piece of information. I can remember most of it quite quickly. So I'm a bit of a cheat with that sort of stuff. That's why I did quite well in all of my exams, because I've just got a very good memory. So yeah, I can just look at stuff and memorize it. It's also why I'm do quite well with the YouTube videos, because I can just look at some stats. I don't have to write a script and I'll just remember the stats. Will content creators tell us which is the best time to play triple captain, since most of them burnt theirs on Haaland last week? That's just unnecessary passive-aggressive. Just no. No, I definitely will. We'll definitely talk about triple captaincy. It would probably be in one of the doubles coming up at some point. Maybe 22. Maybe 22 is the week. Rashford or Bruno triple captain. Hey, Ross, you never mentioned Ward-Prowse as an option for budget midfielders. Are you not a fan of his? I just feel like he sometimes ticks along, but Southampton aren't great, and he's been really good in recent weeks. But we've also always said that basically Ward-Prowse's total points at the end of the season is always really good, but you never get a lot of points. You don't normally tend to get a lot of points condensed. I know he has recently, but you find it tricky to try and identify when that'll be. He'll score the odd penalty, he'll score the odd free kick. But generally speaking, I think it's better to try and target players that are in hot streaks of form rather than owning Ward-Prowse. If you want to own Ward-Prowse, it's got to be for a long period of time usually. Or for a double game week, of course. What do you teach? I teach sports psychology and I also teach statistics. Such a nerd, wow. The discussion on Twitter about content creators' output made me chuckle, as if people aren't able to make their own choices. Yeah, we get blamed for a lot. We get blamed for a lot. Think about how many pieces of advice we give out on a weekly basis. Of course we're going to get stuff wrong. We can't predict the future. Right, I'm going to end it there, guys. I'm so hungry. So I'm going to go get some food. I'm going to go dip some nuggets in some milkshake. I'm not really. Oh, I might. We'll see what happens. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you all as always. There was my team, if you want to see it, how I finished. Best of luck for 21. In Game Week 22, we've got a 2-week break between Game Week 21 and Game Week 22, but there will still be tons of videos. There will still be stuff to digest. And as always, follow me over on Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that to keep up to date with my life, my content. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.